And here we go, exactly 6 o'clock at the MJ Morning Show, and we are in storm mode. Well, we're going to integrate normal portions of the MJ Morning Show and the content you expect, but also those that know me and the MJ Morning Show team over the years. You know that we have vast experience in dealing with weather activity like tropical storms and hurricanes. So here we go. It's another drill. This is going to be far offshore, 100 to 120, maybe up to 150 miles offshore. However, the effects will be felt because this thing is kind of a monster. It's roughly 300 miles across, so do the math. Now, in the Tampa Bay area, in the immediate Tampa Bay area, as we deal with Helen, we're going to see just increasing wind bands and rain as the day goes on. The worst of it really is going to be this afternoon into this evening, and then what concerns the experts is the surge, and that is the massive influx of water being pushed toward the coast. And it is believed that the surge issues are going to occur later tonight. So later this evening into the overnight hours for tomorrow morning. So surge, whatever we end up getting. And keep in mind, we've got the charts. We've seen the predictions put out by the National Hurricane Center as far as what surge will be. I'll go over that in a bit. And those are really like the worst case scenarios. It's the higher side of worst case. So what actually happens, what verifies, that remains to be seen. If you are in an area that has received surge and flooding in the past, don't take a chance, obviously, especially if you're low-lying. Like, for instance, in my area, I'm in South Tampa. I'm in the Beach Park area. Let's just use West Shore and Kennedy as a geographical marker, as a pin. In my neighborhood, there are plenty of houses that are built up, which would not be affected by the surge if those predictions come true. But there are still plenty of homes that were built in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. And, I scratch my head on this because we know that the Tampa Bay area has been prone to cyclonic activity, tropical storms. The last really nasty one to hit the Tampa Bay area was it 1921? If I'm not mistaken, I think it was 1921. And you have a ton of homes that are built essentially right on the ground level, right on the slab. As I did my walk last night, and I got 3 miles in last night, it was, nice and pleasant. We had some afternoon rain, but when I was walking, it was fine. And I've always noticed this, but I took extra special note as I walked around, South Tampa, looking at the older homes. And literally, you walk up to some of these older houses, and there was like a 1-inch lip.
Hey, step right in.
Yeah, there's like a 1-inch lip from the walkway or the porch to the front door threshold, like just a 1-inch rise. And I'm just kind of scratching my head. Even back in the 50s or the 60s where some of those homes were built, why did they put it right on ground level and not raise it up a little bit?
Oh, boss, we've elevated it an inch.
A lot of the homes that are being built now, there was a code that kicked in a little over a year ago where in South Tampa, you got to sink pilings. And they're putting garage space for like the first, 10 or 12 feet or so. And the first floor is raised, for new homes that are getting permitted in a lot of parts of South Tampa and other parts of the Tampa Bay area. I speak for, my neighborhood, my city. But, of course, a lot of this is going to be happening in other areas. And, of course, oceanfront or Gulf front property. That's been, the norm for quite some time. Hey, drive in this morning. very, very light. I was on the Sunshine.
Sunshine. You took a long way.
I was on the Howard Franklin Bridge. No, I've got Sunshine Skyway on my mind because the Sunshine Skyway is open. The heavier winds are not going to start rolling until later this morning into the afternoon. So when they close the Sunshine Skyway, that's to be determined because the Sunshine Skyway closes when winds hit 40 miles an hour. That's when they close the Sunshine Skyway, and we're nowhere near that. I don't even know if I had a breeze coming into the parking lot this morning. I didn't. What was that?
I did not have a breeze.
Yeah.
Or Febreze.
No.
Didn't spray any Febreze.
No.
Didn't feel a breeze.
No Febreze.
Nope.
No breeze, no Febreze. She's wearing a very just a stale smelling sweater.
Yeah.
Some drizzle overnight, nothing major. Again, this event is going to progress as the day goes on, and the rain and wind bands will start hitting later this morning, but it'll start intensifying into the mid to late afternoon and early evening. So what I was saying was Sunshine Skyway is open. They do not close the Sunshine Skyway until we hit 40-mile-per-hour winds, and I would anticipate that's going to be somewhat later today or afternoon, if I were to speculate. But just be prepared if you're driving, and of course, try to stay off the roads. But if you're driving, at some point, most likely the Skyway will be closed, and then you got to do the long way home. Take the long way home.
I'd hate to be that last trucker right at 39.5 miles per hour.
Yeah.
All right, you're good. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah. And then what I was about to say, the drive-in on the Howard Franklin Bridge, no issues. I mean,
none.
My car was not even remotely blown around, again, because there's really not much wind right now. What I did notice was extremely light traffic. I was on the bridge at 5:20, 5:21, and were there cars? Yeah, but very, very light. A fraction of the traffic that I normally see. Probably only 3 to 4% of the normal traffic that I see that time of the morning was on the roads. Your drive-in, you guys come in later than me. Did you experience the same thing as far as traffic on the Howard Franklin?
Extraordinarily light.
Yep.
Most people don't have a reason to be out today.
No, listen,
Yeah,
a lot of work is canceled. No, we're not the only ones.
It was very light.
It
can
was.
I just say a big thank you to Josh, who listens and also just sent me this amazing photo of all the linemen, all the power trucks, line trucks.
That gets Roxanne's motor going. Yeah, Roxanne loves seeing the power trucks.
When they roll by in their convoy, that does it for me. I mean, it's just
the total tingles.
It's just like they're heroes. They're going to go take care of business. Like help is on the way.
Yeah, especially up in the Tallahassee and the Panhandle area. A lot of crews are staged in safe areas because it's expected that things are going to get really ugly. 120 to 130 mile per hour winds. Wherever this thing makes landfall, and a good chunk of real estate along the Gulf Coast and the Panhandle, they're calling the storm surge there, and even further to the east and around the Big Bend, they're calling the storm surge potential unsurvivable. Unsurvivable. Now, as far as our surge issues for the immediate Tampa Bay area, for Pinellas and Hillsborough, what time is it? 6:09. I'll give you a couple of these quickly here. So as far as storm surge, looking at 5 to 8 feet for the immediate Tampa Bay area, Pinellas and Hillsborough. If you go a little further south, Sarasota, Manatee, 4 to 7 feet on the surge. And then if you go north of Pinellas into Pasco and Citrus and Hernando, a little south of Citrus, obviously 8 to 12 feet, but then you start getting up toward Cedar Key, 10 to 15 feet, and then St. Mark's, and as you head up into the Panhandle around the Big Bend, you're looking at 20 feet potentially of storm surge, and that's what they're saying is unsurvivable. Hey, if you don't know the Fort Myers stats, I mean, that ought to be a wake-up call, what happened during Ian in Fort Myers. All right, hold on. We're just getting rolling. It is a busy Thursday. Just the right amount of storm coverage. We'll do some normal MJ Morning Show stuff. Dennis Phillips, ABC Action News, will join us at 8:30 this morning for a long-form discussion on the MJ Morning Show. Back in minutes. Shriner's got traffic.
Still no incident.
from the crew. 6:21 Thursday morning. We are here in the studio. You know, we roll in this morning, and did you notice the key card at the front door is broken? So, you know, I pull in, all excited to come to work today, and I park up front, and I'm walking to the door, and I see that there are a couple of notes posted on the front door. And I'm like, all right, it's just some kind of notice regarding the upcoming hurricane here, and you know, maybe just a note regarding the building operations. Nope, it says front door key card reader broken. Hold on a second. Andrew, you put that there? Oh, I thought maybe building management. Do they even know?
Probably not.
What if the golf cart squadron is running around? You know, the office complex that we have.
I don't know if those guys are working today.
They're just driving around in golf carts. What was that, Andrew?
I don't know if those guys are working.
Yeah, that's
today.
what I was saying.
Yeah,
I don't know if what do you mean they're not?
No, I haven't seen them. Usually I see them.
Oh, you said definitively like you knew. All right.
It doesn't appear to be. I was just out back, as a matter of fact.
Yep.
And it is
why were you out back?
Just,
having a
check.
smoke.
What?
Having a smoke. Puffing away.
Just picking up where Froggy left off.
Some morning cigarette smoke out there. No, I don't smoke, but I was out there this morning coming in, no wind whatsoever, as we discussed. I just walked out now, and it's so it is just like at 6 o'clock. It started picking up.
It was like what?
This is like Roxanne Halloween stories.
Yeah, the wind talks to you.
It's like a spooky noisemaker that you hide in the bushes at your house. That's motion sensitive.
Yeah.
Motion activated. You walk up and ooh.
Roxanne's a great spooky noisemaker.
So Andrew, you put the sign at the front door that the key card is not. That's great. We haven't even had the effects of the storm. We already have broken crap here at the radio station.
I got to tell you, yesterday I was walking out to my car, and I walked along this side of the building where these windows are, MJ, and I walked past where the towers are, and the gate was open, and there were all these random pieces I would describe radio tower equipment just lying on the ground, and I'm like, this doesn't bode well for a storm. Are they going to blow around the parking lot?
Hold on a second. Let me understand this.
Yeah.
So behind our building, we have a tower.
Yes.
It's not a broadcast tower. It's the tower that takes our radio station signals. You know, the Beasley cluster, we have Q105 at 104.7 FM. We have Country, WQIK. We've got Wild. We have The Shark. We have Maxima, our Spanish station. We have an AM station. So what do we have total? We have
6.
We have 6 stations. And we have a little tower, and the tower holds like these, they're called STLs, studio transmitter links, and they're microwaves that take the signal from our studios to the actual transmitters that are around the Tampa Bay area that broadcast on FM.
See, I never knew any of this, Fester. I'm riveted. I had no idea. I thought this was sending a signal to Mars.
This is some nerd stuff.
You're telling me that, I'm getting to this.
Okay, all right.
You're telling me that you saw equipment just littered on the ground outside yesterday?
I should have photographed it, but I was like...
Hold on. Was this specific to yesterday and you never noticed this before?
True.
Yes. True that? True that? So just in time for a storm, they put equipment outside on the ground?
I mean, I don't know if it was on its way to go somewhere else, but it just seemed pretty lonely there, if you ask me.
What was it in a box?
No, just haphazardly
Was
strewn.
it with a fox?
No, it was strewn.
Was it with a goat on a boat?
So...
It might be on a goat with a boat after today.
Did you notice it's still back there this morning?
Now, I parked in a different spot, so I didn't walk that same path. And honestly, I wanted my cars far away from that mess when that stuff, if it is still out there, I'm sure, I would hope someone has moved it. But if that blows down the street, you know.
Well, that's odd. And then, Andrew, you came in this morning and you tried to use the front door card key reader.
Yes.
And you noticed that it didn't work?
Yes.
How long did you stand there just hitting your key against the pad?
I tried it a couple of times. Then I said, uh-oh, they must have fired me.
Oh, yeah. That's sometimes you find out about your dismissal when your key card doesn't work to come into the building.
And then I walked around the building to try the other door.
And it worked.
Yes.
Did you
Boy,
know?
are you an optimist? I was just
I'd
going
have turned around and gone home.
I'm going home. I've been terminated. My key card's been shut off.
I'm like, screw these guys. I'm out of here.
Have you notified the building management yet?
I have no idea who to contact for our building management. Do you?
So there's
a number because we've called in the past.
Yeah.
Didn't we get like an answering service or
It's
something?
not going to work today.
Well, the answering service isn't. Maybe was it local? I don't remember. But there is a 24-hour line for us to call to at least file a message for them to call management during the day.
Let's file a report right now. So go ahead and Roxanne, Google Bayfront.
Bayport?
What the hell are we?
Bay
Point.
I don't know. I don't even know the hell of the
I
executive
found a
plaza.
Bay Point Apartments, Bay Point Hospital.
No, Bay Point Office Park. It's the
Office
former.
Tower?
No, we're not a tower. It's the former Koger Executive Center, and it's now called what is it? Bay.
I think we're the
Bayfort. Oh, I like Bayfort. Oh, I think we ought to be the Bayfort Center. That's it. Yes, Andrew.
I haven't been able to clock in yet either today because I can't log into that for some reason. So I'm working off the clock.
Hey,
Yes.
I got to tell you, I just found this lovely Bay Point where we work online.
Yep.
Bay Point Commerce Center is what we're called, a modern and convenient office destination.
Modern.
Offering-
Our building is like 1976.
Offering
Modern.
Right?
office spaces, restaurants, cafes, shopping,
What?
hotels, and banking. No, this is it. This is it because the address is the same.
We don't have shopping in here.
I mean,
We don't have cafes.
I mean,
We
we're
got a
like,
freaking snack machine.
we're 10 blocks from a Target. I mean, maybe that's what they mean by we're near shopping.
Okay, I think I found something. So you want me to find the number and who to call?
Yeah. Find the number. Let's call them and let them know that the key card is not working for the front door. And hey, what if the back door didn't work? We would have to smash a window to get in this place. And trust me, I would do that. Seriously, what if?
Oh, yeah.
What if we were locked out this morning? We've got a broadcast.
No, nothing will stop you.
Oh, seriously, what should we do if we could not get into the building? What should we do?
Smash a window.
You have to smash a window to get in. You have to smash the glass at the door. Find a cinder block and just take that sucker out. I mean, just something like.
So if you've noticed, MJ.
I was close to doing that.
There's a security film.
Without even checking the back door, I was about to just throw a brick through the front door when I saw the key card wasn't working. I got to get in. I'm an essential worker. I'm a broadcaster. All right. Well, I'm sorry.
They put like a 3M film on all the glass. I don't know that a cinder block or a brick would work. I would have to drive my car through the front. I would have to sacrifice my vehicle.
Hit the gas instead of the brake.
Yeah, and just do it.
Big old Fester made a big mistake. No, he didn't. It was on purpose.
I saved humanity is what I did.
It was on purpose. All right, so timing-wise, rain bands and wind bands for Helene will obviously progress as the morning and afternoon rolls on. Here in the Tampa Bay area, we're expecting the worst of things, really 2 o'clock plus, 2 to 3 p.m., let me check the latest because, the storm was moving at 12 miles per hour, to the north because it was like a northwest and then it changed to late last night, more of a due north. And the forward speed was sitting at 12 miles an hour. And then with the 11 p.m. advisory, the forward speed went to 9 miles an hour. So it did slow down a little bit.
That's not a good
And
one.
then it's expected to also increase again in speed as the day goes on. So it's now moving at 12 miles per hour, northeast at 12 miles an hour. This is the 5 a.m. advisory, the 4 a.m. Central Time advisory. So the latest advisory we have is from 5 a.m. our time. Maximum sustained winds are at 90 miles per hour now, and the movement is at 12 miles an hour. So it went back to where it was. It was 12. The 11 o'clock last night dropped back to a 9 mile per hour forward speed, now back to 12 miles per hour. And it's expected that it is going to increase in speed and roll through fairly quickly And again, at our latitude, should be somewhere around 3 p.m. today. About 2 p.m. off of Sarasota or so, 3 p.m.-ish at the latitude of the immediate Tampa Bay area, off the St. Pete and Clearwater coast. So we'll keep you apprised of all the timing. Don't forget, Dennis Phillips will join us live, DPL, Dennis Phillips Live, MJ Morning Show edition at 8:30 this morning. Cash Kitty is here. I know the cats freaking hate water, but the Cash Kitty's here.
Rain or shine or wind.
8 a.m. Hey, listen, we're not stopping the contest, man. You got a shot to win $1,000 by zipping that keyword to the text line. That'll happen at 8 o'clock this morning. Hey, and Storm's not going to stop me from giving away another Zoji Rushi Japanese rice cooker.
No.
National Rice Month doesn't stop for a tropical storm and a hurricane. All right, let's do some early morons in the news. We're going to combine, normal MJ Morning Show elements this morning with actual coverage. And there's a lot of stuff we just haven't even gotten to. So I would recommend that you keep listening to the MJ Morning Show all morning long. If your air conditioning is a problem, there's only one company. It is 6:41 at the MJ Morning Show, and of course, the big concern for the Tampa Bay area is the storm surge, where that's going to affect us later this evening. The surge really an event of concern this evening, 9 p.m. into, if you're to pick sort of a time frame, it seems that it's going to be about 9 p.m. into the overnight hours, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., where storm surge for the immediate Tampa Bay area has been predicted at 5 to 8 feet. So, again, this prediction is on the high side, worst case scenario. That's what they have to do. That's what the National Hurricane Center does. They give you the worst case scenario. So storm surge, 5 to 8 feet for the immediate Tampa Bay area. South, Manatee and Sarasota counties, 4 to 7 feet. And then north of us, so north of Pinellas, Pasco, Hernando, Citrus, 8 to 12 feet. If you're in flood areas, storm surge areas, obviously take precautions, do smart things. All right, before I get to some early morons in the news, do a little bit of a blend here on this Thursday morning. About 100 people died because of the surge at Fort Myers Beach because of Ian. People don't realize that in the state of Florida, we lost about 149 people. The numbers are 148 or 149, according to different sources. But for Ian in the state of Florida, deaths were 149, and those attributed to surge deaths at Fort Myers Beach area. 100 people no longer with us because of surge. So obviously it's not going to be as bad as it was during Ian last year. However, take precautions. Now, they're calling the surge up in the Panhandle near landfall, they're calling that unsurvivable. All right, early morons in the news, a little bit of levity. What are you snickering at over there, Fester?
It's just tough stuff to go from very, very serious
storm
stuff.
surge deaths to morons in the news.
All right, now we're going to talk about a guy who put his butt against the glass at a Checkers. And
no, far more serious than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
At a Wendy's?
No, it's not a
where the
not a
baked
Wendy's.
potatoes and out his way.
Listen, hey, I got a guy. Well, I mean, it is somewhat food related.
Oh,
I got a guy that's dead because of an argument over hot sauce.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's a way to go.
say it, man.
Oh, how'd he go? What happened? Oh, argument over hot sauce.
Are people who like hot sauce just more passionate in general?
Yeah. I've become a hot sauce person.
Yeah.
And there are certain kinds I will use gladly, and other kinds I'm like, ugh, okay, if that's all you have. Ugh. And it's a thing. Because a lot of times there's different regions with different flavors of hot sauces. It's a big deal.
Yeah, there's the Franks.
I put that on everything.
Remember that? That's their commercial.
I put that on everything.
Here we go. This is out of Denver. 19-year-old arrested after an argument over a bottle of hot sauce. It happened Sunday, and the Denver police responded to a stabbing. Police said an argument escalated into a physical altercation and then a stabbing that left one person dead. According to a probable cause affidavit, police detained George Vigil. I wonder if they can hold a vigil for the deceased in the hot dog or the hot sauce stabbing.
That would be appropriate.
Yeah. So the suspect is George Vigil, but we need to hold a vigil for the victim.
Right. Vigil won't be for vigil.
Yeah.
Vigil.
He told officers that someone in the house wanted to make a sandwich and asked where the hot sauce was, and Vigil replied that it was in a bedroom upstairs.
Ooh.
That's where I keep my hot sauce.
That's
in
right.
the bedroom upstairs, because you never know when Michelle makes some demands up in the bedroom.
That's right.
The mood strikes.
She puts that stuff on everything. Everything.
An argument erupted between family members over the bottle of hot sauce. Maybe because why is the hot sauce upstairs in the bedroom?
Who's been eating in the bed? That would strike an argument.
What the hell?
Fair complaint, yeah.
So that led to an argument. According to the probable cause statement, Vigil was known to carry a switchblade-type knife. He allegedly swung his arm at the victim, who fell to the ground. Denver police said the victim was taken to a local hospital where he was pronounced dead. Yeah, Vigil is now being held on investigation of second-degree murder. The investigation's ongoing, and police have not released the identity of the victim. All right.
Did they mention what brand of hot sauce?
They do not mention the brand of hot sauce. Texas Pete's, Frank's.
I put that on everything.
What else do you have? You've got the sriracha.
Sriracha sauce is a bunch of Mexican and Latin-themed hot sauces available at stores.
Yep. This is really creepy. As we do some morons in the news, intertwined with storm coverage. Because, right now, I mean, things are kind of just a little bit of a drizzly morning. And even then.
Not if you check Roxanne Wilder IG. I just did a story about the wind outside. Ooh.
Whoa.
It's whooshing.
See? Follow at Roxanne Wilder.
I'm looking outside right now, and the leaves are moving just slightly.
Oh, now I got to go.
Hold on. You did a story, what? Where?
On IG about the wind outside.
I think she's putting us together.
There's a man on the street. A man on the street. I had to go out there and give everybody. Nobody else is at work today, so I had to say, this is what you're.
I just looked out our Accu window, and we have some rain falling in St. Pete. We're near Gandy and 4th Street in St. Pete. And right now, I'm seeing, the leaves are moving. I'm not concerned. And I'm looking at some rain falling at a slight angle right at one of the street lights. Oh no! Hang on. Let me bring up this audio.
You do this.
You gotta be quiet to hear it, though. Everybody has to be very quiet.
Are you narrating it?
I just say one thing.
All right, reset this. So,
all right, hold on.
Roxanne did a weather observation during the commercial break and just posted it to her Instagram at Roxanne Wilder. All right, go ahead and reset it, refresh it, and bring up the audio. Let's go. Let me hear this.
Hold on, I gotta go back.
All right.
I don't want to build this up too much.
Click Roxanne's name here.
Right, audio. All right, hold on.
No. You got to go back. That was just the last clip. That was the last clip.
Hold on.
Okay, there's my daughter doing storm prep on Bayshore.
Is it the next clip?
And then the next one, just let it go.
Why are you on Bayshore? You live in West Chase.
No, our Doug's one of our family friend business partners.
Okay. All right, so here we go. Roxanne's weather observation.
You hear that wind? Let's see.
What is this? It's just a parking lot.
You don't hear it? There it is.
Hold on, are you going into your microphone on your phone?
That's real wind.
All right.
Look, you can hear it in the tunnel. It's spooky.
It's
all right.
Anyway,
you got make it a feature, Rock, so people can see it. So
I don't know if it's feature worthy. That's why I just hit it in the stories.
I don't know if it's real worthy, but it's here. It is. It's buried behind 2 pictures of your kids.
All right, listen to this. A Virginia school photographer has been fired after making inappropriate comments to elementary students. Ooh, that's creepy.
Ugh.
Yeah, elementary school photographer reportedly lost her job.
But what did she say that was so inappropriate?
After being accused of making improper remarks to young students, including, "Can I eat your soul?"
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna have to use that.
Eat your soul. What the hell? So
is that a compliment or a threat?
A female photographer at an elementary school is asking kids, "Can I eat your soul?" The principal of Chittum Elementary School, you got to be careful how you say that, in Chesapeake is where this happened. And Michelle and I are from the Hampton Roads area, which is, Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Norfolk area. So the principal said in an email to parents last week that a photographer hired to take the school pictures was escorted off campus for making inappropriate comments to students. The photographer was not named by the school or company officials, was employed by LifeTouch, a family and school photography service owned by Shutterfly. In an interview, a parent said that her son was sitting to have his school picture taken when the photographer allegedly said, "Can I steal your identity? Can I eat your soul?" What?
What's the kid going to say? No to the photographer?
Demonic comments from the school photographer?
I tell you, we just had picture day at my kid's school, I think, last week.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Nothing like this happened.
No.
I want to eat your soul.
Take a number.
It's 666 photography. That's why we call it morons in the news.
All right, kid, horns up.
Yeah. 6:51 at the MJ Morning Show on a storm day, folks. The worst of it for us later this afternoon, really kind of 3 p.m.-ish is what we're looking for, but increasing wind and rain bands all day long. The store is far offshore. The concern for us is storm surge in the evening hours tonight into the overnight hours. Back in minutes on the MJ Morning Show. Hey, speaking of weather, It is 7 o'clock exactly here on the MJ Morning Show. I'm not going to play the Scorpions' Rock You Like a Hurricane. Too cliche.
What about some REO Speedwagon riding the storm out?
Yeah, not going to do that either. Yeah. Are you going to give me a whole list of storm and hurricane? I don't know if there's any other hurricane songs other than Rock You Like a Hurricane.
Wait,
yeah.
What about Riders on the Storm?
Well, no, those are storms. I'm talking about specifically hurricane lyrics.
Only that one.
Yeah, there used to be, I don't know if it's still around, there used to be something called the Green Book, and it was like a cross-reference for like words and lyrics for a whole lot of songs. I think it was called the Green Book. I don't even know if that damn thing exists anymore.
Hello, guys. Trying to Reason with Hurricane Season by Jimmy Buffett. What do you know? There are no more hurricane songs. And then Luke Combs, bite your tongue. Luke Combs has a song called Hurricane.
Okay.
Does he?
Yeah.
As you know, I'm not a huge Jimmy Buffett fan, and I know nothing about, who was it? Luke what? Luke Perry?
Combs. Luke Combs.
Luke Perry?
Yeah.
I know nothing about country singer Luke Perry. I know zero. Hey, Greg D., meteorologist from ABC Action News, will join us at about 7:03. It's now 7:02.
That's awesome.
So I see Greg is on TV right now. He's got a window in just a few moments here. So I'm just watching for our hotline to flash. And Greg D is going to phone us from the ABC Action News Weather Center, and we'll get the latest. And, of course, the big concern is the storm surge. The forward speed is now at 12 miles per hour again. It had slowed down with the 11 p.m. advisory last night to 9 miles an hour. Surge is the big deal, and that is our concern. We'll get all the timing. We'll get all the latest from ABC Action News and Greg D in just a matter of minutes. Dennis Phillips live, MJ Morning Show edition, happens at 8:30. So Dennis Phillips will join us for as long as we want at 8:30 this morning. DPL, Dennis Phillips live on the MJ Morning Show coming up in just a bit. The Cash Kitty breaks for nothing.
No.
The Cash Kitty here in less than an hour at 8 a.m., the Cash Kitty will make an appearance. We'll give you the keyword. You text it. And if you're the right random text, you'll win $1,000. So stand by. That's on the way in just a bit. Obviously, all of the airports are closed. Tampa International officially closed at 2 a.m. this morning. It was kind of interesting. Michelle and I were watching TV late. That was 11:30. 11:45 last night, and there were a whole bunch of planes lined up taking off. I saw Southwest, a couple of flights. There were a couple of Delta flights. I saw a couple of American Airlines flights.
Yeah, but they weren't going anywhere, were they?
Well,
or were they? They didn't have passengers.
Well, you know, some of them must have, because there was an American Airlines from Tampa to Chicago. No, there were definitely flights that were leaving late last night with people on. Were there some flights that I suspect were ferry flights, meaning they were ferrying the airplane out? You know, that's one of the issues that we have as far as getting the airport ramped back up. And I'll get into this a little later on, because we know some people that were supposed to fly out on Friday, and their flight's already been canceled for Friday. One of the concerns is when the airport opens back up and the operations are open and returning to normal, will the airlines have planes here? Because all of the airlines are getting their assets out of town. And they did this yesterday into the late evening. And at this point, I got to believe there's nothing on the ground. I got to believe that there are no commercial jets on the ground at Tampa International Airport, that everything is gone, because you don't want them sitting here. You know, you don't want them sitting, potential, damage. You don't want that to occur. So they get the flights out of here. So when the airport opens back up on Friday, the issue is you're not going to have the airplanes on the ground that were sitting here from Thursday night, later tonight. So the planes have to come back in. So that's going to throw the schedule completely off. And that's why you might say, oh, my God, they've canceled my flight already for Friday. That's because the equipment's not here. It's not going to be here in time for your flight. So, I know people that had Friday flights that already have been pushed off to Saturday.
According to Flight Aware, have you heard of that site?
Of course I have. I have the app on my phone.
Would you care to guess how many flights have been canceled already out of Tampa International Airport?
I would have to say 1,012.
It's a little high.
937.
Still high.
846.
I could just tell you.
Yeah, tell me. Where was I I think I was on the Howard Franklin on the St. Pete side. Andrew, you guessed it. My guess is so about 5:30 this morning. I'm looking at landing lights, and I'm looking at a plane landing at the St. Pete Clearwater International Airport, which is PIE.
I know what it was.
And it had to be a Coast Guard plane.
Had to be the Allegiant Red Eye from Vegas. They don't care. Allegiant doesn't drop you down, man. We're doing it, dude. Let's go.
Parachute you down.
It wasn't the Allegiant Red Eye. No. So I'm guessing it was a Coast Guard C-130 making a landing at PIE is what I'm guessing. But, all the commercial flights, all the general aviation flights, all the hoity-toity folks with their private jets, all those flights are non-existent. The airports are closed.
You want another guessing game? I just found on directflights.com
right,
the average number of passenger flights that take off from Tampa every day. What do you think that number is?
I think the number is 550.
It is so much lower.
Really?
Are you crazy?
I don't know.
203. And this is last updated in September of 2024. So this is live information. It's fresh.
Is fresh information?
Yes. I would have thought higher as well.
200 flights a day is a lot of flights.
I guess it is.
It's a pretty busy airport for a
so,
non-huge major city.
All right, so I was shooting just a little bit too high.
Twice as high.
Yep. All right, 7:08 at the MJ Morning Show. Greg D was supposed to phone us a little while ago, but he's still on TV. So I don't know where the disconnect was. Maybe the producer said, hey, stay on longer. Looks like they're blowing out Good Morning America because GMA, the national broadcast, would be on. It looks like I'm guessing that a lot of the local channels are going to be doing. I'm curious.
Yeah,
so
they don't need to go to Good Morning America Halloween decorating tips.
Well, hold on a bit. Let me see. So Channel 28 is blowing out Good Morning America.
Right.
That means we're not going to be able to see Michael Strahan and his tooth gap this morning?
I mean, maybe eventually we will.
All right, hold on a minute. Let me see. Channel 10. Okay, they're local as well. So Channel 10 blowing out the CBS Morning News broadcast. And let's see, Channel 8. Al Roker's on Channel 8.
So, have Al Roker.
All right.
So Channel 8 is not blowing out the Today Show. So that's still on. Look at that.
I would like to take a moment and thank Channel 10.
Yeah.
They did not, I repeat, did not interrupt or preempt or bump Big Brother last night.
Oh, good.
There's an hour-and-a-half episode from 9:30 to 11, and they did updates during the Nationals.
Did they? Well, hold on. During the show, though, did they have the crawl at the bottom?
Yes.
So the entire Big Brother show on CBS. So during that, they ran the little crawl on the lower third of the screen.
But not always, but regularly, especially coming out of a commercial break, they would have the updates of the counties and what to expect and what the warnings are.
Let me tell you right now. In the event of nuclear war, Fester would be perturbed if Big Brother were preempted, if it were canceled.
Yeah.
Fester would go ballistic. Incoming thermonuclear tipped missiles, and Fester would be pissed off that Big Brother was not on the air.
Fester would go nuclear.
Last night was such a good episode, too. Mackenzie is totally playing Chelsea's game. I mean, she's not playing her own game.
Dude,
she's playing Chelsea's game. She is brainwashed.
You're a 50-year-old grown man.
Oh, my gosh. She She took chemo off the block.
Hold on. Chemo?
Yeah.
As in chemotherapy?
Chemo as in a Hawaiian guy
Oh,
named K-I-M-O.
K-I-M-O.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a gay Hawaiian mattress salesman from like
wait a minute.
Hilo
Wait a
or
minute.
something. Or
It's Hilo.
Wherever.
Hilo's on the Big Island. All right. So, wait a minute. There's a gay Hawaiian mattress salesman?
Yes. Named Chemo.
Okay.
Who's a great guy, but he's a floater.
Does he
He's
work,
a total floater.
Does he work for like Mattress Firm or Mattress Discounters?
I think it's like Mattress Giant or something.
Mattress Giant. We left the last S off for savings.
But yeah, so the guy from Tampa, Joseph.
Oh yes, he's still on.
No, he got bounced out like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Why didn't you tell us this? What is wrong with you?
I think it was the week I was out of town.
Well, that's not 3 weeks ago. You were out of town.
About 3 weeks ago.
Was it
2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so Joseph got bumped off recently. His mouth got him in trouble. He was running his mouth. Oh, man.
Wow. All right, Greg D, I think, is phoning us.
All right.
Greg D, ABC Action News. Greg, welcome to the MJ Morning Show.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, Greg, what are the most important headlines right now? I guess timing. What do you want to start with?
Okay, I want to start with this. For those waking up and hearing this for the first time, there have been no major changes with anything overnight, okay? So where you went to bed last night with a landfall in the Big Bend tonight, the surge numbers, the wind numbers, that's all the same. The storm is on track in terms of the forecast. As far as what to expect today, waves of rain. We may get some tornado warnings, but there are going to be periods of today where it's not going to be raining. And there may actually be sun coming out. So this is not going to be an all-day rain. For those of you that are concerned about wind, I don't think the wind is really going to turn serious until after 4 p.m. So the majority of the day, it'll be breezy. There may be some wind gusts of 40 to 45 miles an hour. But in terms of winds that actually start causing power outages, I think that's really towards 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. tonight. And that is also when we'll be watching for the highest water levels.
Greg, I know the surge, obviously, of a major concern. So let's talk about surge, and then I have a couple of questions about the predictions. Go ahead.
Okay, so the surge numbers having changed 5 to 8 feet, Pinellas, Hillsborough County, the Bay Area, so everyone around Hillsborough Bay and Tampa Bay. I think if the storm stays toward Tallahassee, I think we're on the lower end of that. If it goes a little east into Taylor County and Steinhatchee, then we may be closer to the higher numbers. The real serious surge, however, is going to be Hernando County north. That's where you have to get out. If you have been told Hernando, Citrus County, if you know anyone in the Big Bend, if they've been told to evacuate and they are still there, they've got to get out away from this water. You got to run from the water. You can shelter for wind. That's where the surge is going to be really strong and destructive. And I think the timing on that is just like with the strongest wind after 6 p.m. The latest low tide in our area is about early evening, 6 p.m. or so, 6:18, I think, in St. Pete. And after that, that's when the water starts coming back with the tide and the wind starts pushing the water back towards shore. So unfortunately, a lot of this could happen after it turns dark.
Yeah, so the surge event, we had sort of been looking at 9 p.m. on into the overnight hours. Is that a good guide?
Yeah, I would say that is a good guide. I would say that after 9 p.m., really 9 p.m. to maybe 1 a.m. is like the highest window that we're really alert for this. Overnight, the winds are going to continue on shore, so subsequent high tides continue to bring in high water. But I think that really, 1, 2 a.m. is probably where the worst of it would be, and any kind of water rises after that towards sunrise on Friday would be lower than what we'll see late this evening.
The storm surge totals, and again, these are worst case scenarios.
Correct.
And they put out the worst case scenarios. It's a CYA, but obviously you have to be prepared. And some will say that we don't expect to see the higher end of these predictions. But Sarasota, Manatee looking at 4 to 7 foot surge. The immediate Tampa Bay area, 5 to 8 feet. Hernando, Pasco, Citrus, you're looking at 8 to 12. And speaking of Hernando, those, I believe, in Hernando, west of US 19, there are evacuation orders for zones A, B, and C, I believe.
And I think that's a worst case scenario. I think you're right. I think in most cases the water probably will not get to sea, but because it could, and the level that it could reach, I think they want folks to be safe. The thing with water is, if you stay and that water does come in, there are very few options at that point. And I think what we're trying to do is get people out. Let's all tell the story of, oh, there was this hurricane, I had to go, we came back and nothing happened. Great story. That's the story I want to hear over and over, because I don't want to hear the story of folks having to ride this out with a flooded home, property, and having to move to higher ground during the storm while it's dark. I think that's really what makes this extra dangerous, is a lot of this would be happening while it's dark.
Now, Greg, the prediction for the Panhandle is catastrophic as far as storm surge. Some predictions of up to 20 feet of storm surge, which they are saying at the National Hurricane Center, unsurvivable. So
that is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct. And the reason they're saying that, so think Ian, is 20 feet of water that's moving with wave action. That is not just a flood. That water, as it moves, exerts thousands of tons of pressure on the buildings. So you're talking about water that will move buildings.
I have a friend of mine, Andrew, good friend for years. Remember, Nora was an intern. Andrew is a home theater guy, advanced ESI out of Sarasota, a great home theater company. And his brother on Fort Myers Beach, the water over his house, over like the second floor during Ian at Fort Myers Beach.
And that's incredible, and it's also very possible. And unfortunately, surge happens so rarely and in such small areas that most people will never see it in their life. It's just the way this works. You have to be in the wrong place at the right time to see it. So a lot of times people think, well, I didn't see it with Adalia, I didn't see it with Irma, I didn't see it with Ian. It's not possible. It does. I hear this all the time. It doesn't do that here. It's not because it doesn't do that here. You just were not in that very small location where it does happen. And I just don't want people to be rolling the dice every time a storm rolls by. If you've been told to evacuate, that means it is possible where you are. No seawall, no protection measure at that point will stop the water.
Greg, I think it's important to point out, speaking of Ian down in Fort Myers in Southwest Florida, that during Ian, 149 deaths in Florida were attributed to that storm, and 100 people in Fort Myers area, 100 people lost their lives because of the storm surge. That's a daunting number.
It's a daunting number that we should never have. That is, it's absolutely devastating, because all of that could be prevented, right? And in most cases, we're not telling you to go to another state. In most cases, it literally may be a 10-minute drive away. That safe place for you may be a couple of miles away, just to get you high enough to get away from that water. That's all we're trying to do. So if you've been told to evacuate, you know someone who's been told to evacuate, and they are still in place this morning, just in case, tell them to leave.
Greg D., meteorologist at ABC Action News, Channel 28, our weather partner. I'll text you in a bit to get your next window, but we'll talk to Greg coming up in the long segment, which begins next here on the MJ Morning Show. Greg, thanks for the time. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Stay safe. Thank you.
Greg D. And then, of course, Dennis is going to join us at 8:30. Dennis Phillips live, MJ Morning Show edition, will occur at 8:30 this morning. We're going to start an hour and 20 minutes of nonstop MJ. I want to take phone calls. I've got a very specific question that I want to ask our listeners. We're going to take phone calls next. You'll find out exactly what my question is here on the MJ Morning Show. Hour 20 minutes, nonstop MJ in moments. Heads up on that. My friends... Morning show, MJ, Fester, Roxanne, Andrew in the booth, who will screen your calls here in just a matter of moments. Oh, also, I don't want to bust on my wife, but
don't do that. I was just thinking about your wife with my
what?
Dunkin' coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Because she loves Dunkin'.
Yeah, Michelle's a Dunkin' girl.
She's a Dunkin' girl. And I have a very belated birthday gift for her.
Yeah, Michelle is not a Starbucks girl.
No.
Yeah, Michelle does not like Starbucks. Michelle says Starbucks tastes like it was burnt to crap. Not to mention it's like 3 times the price. So, Michelle gets her $2.30, $2.50 coffee from Dunkin', and she's very, very happy. Yeah.
Good.
There's a little Michelle issue I want to bring up. When someone zigs and you zag? You've heard that expression, right?
Does it mean you're not on the same wavelength, or you're going to go different ways?
You could possibly put it in those terms. So I just want to bring up something regarding Michelle, and I'll do that in just a bit. I want to grab some phone calls here. Welcome, folks. It is the MJ Morning Show, and we just have begun an hour and 20 minutes plus of nonstop MJ, and this will include DPL. Dennis Phillips Live, the MJ edition, will occur in about an hour. At 8:30, Dennis Phillips will join us. We'll have Greg D on again from ABC Action News, a colleague of Dennis Phillips, the chief meteorologist. Greg D was just on with us for a chunk a few minutes ago. He'll join us again probably later this hour for a quickie, and then Dennis Phillips live at 8:30 here on the MJ Morning Show. I was thinking maybe on this edition of Dennis Phillips Live on the MJ Morning Show, maybe we'll grab some phone calls. Maybe I'll have folks phone in and ask Dennis questions. But I do want to take calls on something. On 2 fronts, 2 questions.
What do you got?
So with hurricane prep, and of course, you heard Greg D., and we've been giving you the timeline ourselves during the course of the day. 2 to 3 p.m., you're going to start seeing increases. Really, 4 p.m. on is where you're going to see probably the heavier rain and wind bands. It's going to be on and off. You know how this works. If you are a Tampa Bay area resident, you know how these tropical storms and hurricanes work. When we're obviously on the periphery or we're on the fringe and we get just the huge amount of rain bands that are swirling in the counterclockwise fashion. And this storm is huge. This is like 300 miles across. So most of the state will get rain bands. And you know how this works, that we might have some squalls, some heavy rain, might be coming sideways for a little bit. We might have tropical storm force gusts, and then a band passes, and you might have some freaking sunshine.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I might be playing Katrina and the Waves Walking on Sunshine, and then have to shut it off mid-song because here's another band.
It's true.
But seriously, we might have sunshine during the course of the day, poking in and out. The real weather event Greg said post 4 p.m. in the immediate Tampa Bay area. And then, of course, it's the storm surge and the worst case scenario numbers that the National Hurricane Center put out. Those numbers could be achieved, or the storm surge really from about 9 p.m. on. So 9 p.m. into the overnight hours, 1, 2 a.m., that's where the concern is regarding storm surge. All right, I want to go to phones on this. A couple of things. First of all, are you working today? What do you do that you're working right now? Listening to us. Festa, why do you have a look of disgust on your face?
Because management here is tricked into thinking that all of our salespeople are working from home today.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we have several morning shows here. We're all here.
Yeah.
And
but that's a given for us.
Right,
I mean, you know,
question.
we're essential broadcast workers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so are you working right now? Are you on your way to work? What do you do that's putting you in the position of having to work today? 800-990-1047. 800-990-1047. So that's question number one. Are you working? What do you do that you have to work when most places are closed?
I mean, every retail place
Closed.
is open.
Yeah.
Every restaurant's open.
Well,
Yeah.
that's not necessarily the case. Not everything.
Is the Tyrone Applebee's closed? I mean, those people are going into work today.
Well, we don't know. We don't know that. How can you make a statement? That
I'm asking, but
how can you make a statement that Tyrone Applebee's
But-
is definitely open today?
a lot of restaurants are open. Retail establishments are open. Ross isn't closed today.
Dress for Less Ross, you think is open today?
If you wanted to go peruse their
Yeah,
collection of
come on.
ball caps, it's open today.
Oh, really?
All the Domino's pizzas are open
How,
today.
are you talking out of your butt or what? How do you know this?
Okay, in the greater Tampa Bay area, I mean, maybe
Right.
maybe up as the storm surge gets up higher, like toward Citrus and Hernando
so
County.
employees at Ross Dress for Less will have early release?
Maybe.
All right, listen, are you working today? Hey, prove me wrong. Do you work at Applebee's at Tyrone? Is there an Applebee's at Tyrone?
I imagine.
All right. Are you open today? All right. What are you? Look at every line is ringing. What are you doing that you're at work right now or driving on Tampa Bay area roads right now? Listen, I'm looking outside and there's a little bit of wind. I don't see rain right now in St. Pete near Gandy and 4th Street. So question number one is, are you working? And then question number two, what was it like scrounging for hurricane preparation supplies? You know, water and eggs. I've seen the pictures of like Walmart and Target and Publix and like the water aisles all wiped out. So what did you have trouble finding? What did the shelves look like at the supermarkets, the big box stores late yesterday or yesterday afternoon? 800-990-1047. Every single line is jammed up. So when I hang up on somebody, try to get in if you're getting a busy signal right now. 800-990-1047. Before I go to phones, Roxanne, you were like jonesing to say something?
Yeah, maybe I just have a follow-up question for some of these people who are working today. If they have young children, what do you do with them? Because I know a lot of people, you have to work, and then your kids are out of school, and so,
It's just
where
an
are they?
unexpected day of
Listen,
childcare.
you lock them in the bathroom with some fruit roll-ups.
There you go.
That's what you do.
Okay.
My
And,
kids-
and a box of Lucky Charms.
Yeah, my kids would be fine
That's
with
what you do.
Yeah, mine too.
Let me grab Kerry in Tampa. Kerry, hi, you're on the MJ Morning Show.
How you doing, MJ?
Hey, doing well, Kerry. All right, so what do you do for a living?
I'm a tow truck driver. I keep the roads clean for you.
Yep, there you go. So what time did you report to work this morning?
7 o'clock.
Any activity thus far?
Nope. It's raining pretty good out here.
Now, where are you in Tampa? Where are you calling from where you have rain right now?
Sly in Florida.
Yeah, so you're getting pretty heavy rain right now?
No, it's a steady drizzle.
Gotcha. Hey, thanks for what you do, man. Do you work for one of the big tow companies?
I work for Starks Towing and Supreme Towing in Tampa.
Gotcha. And I want to point out, and Kerry, you're going to second this motion here. Remember, it is Florida law that if you're on the road and you have a tow truck on the side of the road and they are assisting a vehicle, you have to either slow to 20 miles an hour under the speed limit or move to the next lane over. Get out of the way. It's not just fire trucks and police cars. It's disabled motorists with flashers and a visible person. Tow trucks, you got to move the hell over. And, Kerry, how many people don't move over and fly by you at 70 miles an hour?
A lot. I've been hit twice.
What?
Oh, my gosh.
Hold on. Not you personally. Your truck's been hit?
No, I've been hit.
What?
Oh,
How?
I was on 275 before they changed the junction many years ago, and I was hit by an F-150 by the mirror. I got as close to the truck as I could, and a truck went by and kept going and smacked me with the mirror in my back.
Oh, my God. You're lucky it was just the mirror and it wasn't the front grill. Holy crap.
I couldn't get any closer to the truck. Too big to jump up on top.
Oh, my God. All right, Kerry, I'm glad you're okay, and thanks for listening and checking in. Stay safe.
All right, thank you.
Let me grab Kay and Brandon. Kay, hi, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Why are you working today?
I own a doggy daycare, and we are expecting to pick up some of an evacuation area in St. Pete.
So evacuation areas, people. So is your doggy daycare, is it in Brandon?
Yes, it is.
What is the name of your doggy daycare?
It's the dog patch.
The dog patch in Brandon, and you're expecting residents evacuating some of the surge areas to maybe drop off their dog to be watched in Brandon.
That's correct. And also, we're waiting to hear from another facility that has 40 dogs where they're in an evacuation zone, too. We have our buses ready to go.
Oh, so you'll help evacuate dogs from another area to bring them to your facility.
Correct.
Well, that is mighty noble. I do appreciate that, Kay. It's very, very nice
you don't
of you.
hear about that.
Yeah.
You hear about the hospitals and the senior homes.
Dogs.
But you never hear about the kennels.
No, it's a good point. Well, where is the dog patch located in Brandon?
We are one street off of Highway 60 between Kings and Moon, and we're also a block north of the hospital.
I know exactly where you are. Thank you, Kay, and thanks for listening and checking in. Let's grab Amy in Ruskin. Amy, hi, it's the MJ Morning Show. What are you doing that you're going to work today?
I work in the medical field, MJ.
Yep, that's essential worker. Do you work at a hospital?
No, I work at a primary care in Sun City Center.
And are you guys seeing appointments or emergencies today? What's the story?
Pretty much, if the patients are willing to come out and weather this storm, we're here to see the patient and take care of them.
All right, Amy, stay safe, and thanks for listening. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.
You bet. Joe is in Tampa. Hi, Joe. Welcome to the MJ Morning Show.
Hey, how are you?
We are well. Joe, what are you doing that you're called into work today?
I work for a beer distributor.
Yeah, you know what? You can't shut down the beer during a time like this.
Yeah, need hurricane supplies.
Exactly. And which distributor?
I'd rather not say, just in case there's someone I work with who's listening.
Okay. Well, I hope they are listening, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I guess.
So, Joe, in your work at the beer distributor, what is your responsibility? What is your job there?
Basically, keeping the shelves stocked to make sure there's, product there ready for people to purchase. Just going to different locations. So I got to service Publix's and Total Wines and ABC's and, make sure.
Hey, don't forget Lucan's.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lucan's is not one of mine because I'm in Hillsboro.
Right.
That's somebody else's account over here. But
Gotcha.
But yeah, Lucan's is great as well.
Oh, we love Lucan's. All right. So, Joe, tell me about beer consumption. Now, leading up to the preparation, did beer sales go up? Were shelves? I mean, water is kind of scarce in some places. What about beer sales leading up to this event?
I was at the Total Wine in Wesley Chapel yesterday, and it was crazy busy.
All right, so people are buying beer.
Everything.
All right, thanks, Joe. Yeah. Hey, thanks for checking in. Ginger in Lakeland. Ginger, Polk County is really
unaffected?
Well, I wouldn't say unaffected.
It's going to be a little breezy and rainy today?
It's going to be minimal, according to the reports. According to our official meteorologists, Polk County is not going to see a lot of action from this thing. Ginger calls us. Ginger, by any chance, with a name like Ginger, are you a ginger?
At birth, I was.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
your parents were like, okay, let's match her name to
I
what
was
she looks
actually
like.
named after Ginger on Gilligan's Island.
Aw.
Really?
For real. I have a sister named Tina. My father was in love with her.
Wait a minute. So you're Ginger after the character, and then your sister is named Tina for Ginger's real name, Tina Louise?
Correct.
That's. Do you have a brother named Thurston Howell the Third, or the Professor, or you have a brother named Gilligan? What?
Maybe a long lost brother. That'd be nice.
So if you had a brother, what do you think your father would have named the brother? Would have been Gilligan?
No, probably
Skipper.
Oh, yeah, Gilligan. Yeah,
Skipper. Yes. Hey, little buddy. All right, Ginger. Why are you at work today? What are you doing?
I do Instacart.
Oh, yeah. Hey, so what stores have you hit in the last day or 2 days? What stores have you hit, and what do the supplies look like?
My primary store is Publix, and the bread and the water are the ones that are like wiped out.
All right, because I've seen pictures of some Publixes and Walmarts where there is nothing there. I mean, people even took like the price labels off the shelf.
Right.
If I can't get the water, I'm going to take the Zephyr Hill sticker, you know? So are you seeing like totally empty shelves, or have you seen restocks?
Actually, this morning they did a restock here at Publix that I'm currently at.
And which Publix are you in?
I am at Grove Park on Bartow Road.
All right. And listen, again, in Polk County where you are, the effects are going to be minimal. So the people there really don't need to freak out. Ginger, thank you. Appreciate it. Emery is also in Lakeland. Emery, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Hi.
Hey, good morning.
Morning. What's the story?
I drive a tractor trailer for AAA Cooper, and I'm not afraid to say who I drive for. I'm allowed to be on the phone. Started at 4 a.m. this morning, and I probably won't be out as long as I normally am because, you know, it'll start getting windy later. But, yeah, I'm out here delivering freight.
All right. And you'll be out until weather gets bad? Is that what they're telling you?
Well, I'm doing appointment freight right now, so I'm delivering at Advance Auto Parts, and then I got a couple more stops, and that's about it. So
Gotcha. You know, well, you got to have a battery during a event like this. Hey, thank you, Emery. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. 800-990-1047. 2 questions. Are you working today, and why? And what about supplies? Where did you run into and like the shelves were bare, and what couldn't you find? Let's grab Ram in Holiday. Ram, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Yeah, going to work this morning, living Holiday, field technician. I guess bad management caused me going to work today. No issue with finding supplies.
All right, excellent. Stay safe, buddy. Thank you. Jody is in Dunedin. Jody, MJ Morning Show, you're up. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
We are well. So, Jody, what brings you into work today?
I work at a skilled nursing rehab center.
Yeah, see, that's important.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, it is. We are staying here on property for the next 24, 48 hours. Senior management, lower management, we're doing great here.
So you have people that are actually there and staying in your facility.
Yes, sir, we do. We have our upper management staying and our communication staff and our maintenance staff.
How many patients do you have? And obviously you need staff to treat for the patients. How many staff do you have? Or how many patients do you have?
Right now on my section, we have 64.
Yeah, see, that's a good number of people. Thank you, Jody. You're an essential worker. Thank you very much. Philippe in Dade City. Again, that's nicely inland. Philippe, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Hi.
Yeah, I have to work today. I drive a tow truck, and, got to make sure that if there's any accidents, we clean them up. I work for Ruderman Collision. We have an office in Dade City and Zephyr Hills, so we're a collision center. So.
Now, listen, I'm sure you're in rotation for any I-75 wrecks because, people are going to be on the roads, going wherever. So stay safe. Thank you. Remember, move over for the tow truck drivers as well. 800-990-1047, 800-990-1047. just curious, why are you working today? Just tons of places have given workers the day off. Hey, Chloe, my daughter, Chloe works as a legal assistant in one of the felony divisions at the state attorney's office. And let me tell you what I heard.
What'd you hear?
Let me tell you what the dedication is. So Susie Lopez is the Hillsborough County State Attorney, and I heard that she was probably sleeping at the office last night because the courts are closed, and the Hillsborough County State Attorney's office, they closed yesterday and today. But for any legal emergencies or legal issues or any crucial first appearances, apparently the state attorney, Susie Lopez, this is dedication, was staying at the office last night and actually going to handle things herself, letting other staff go home while she was going to be dealing with any legal emergencies at the office. That's called dedication for the bigwig, for the chief, for the big one. The state attorney to actually stay at the office today.
Big time dedication.
If I were state attorney, I would have made Chloe stay. You, new girl, you're staying. I'm out of here.
Exactly. Let me grab Megan in Tampa. Megan, hi, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Welcome.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing well.
I actually work for an electrical distributor. We are getting pallets ready. We have 2 branches up in Panama City and Tallahassee that are going to take a hit. So we are working today to get our hurricane recovery supplies together for them.
All right. Well, listen, that's essential, obviously, supplying electric. We have the power companies that are prepared. The power companies have crews staged, especially as you get further north of the Bay Area and, north of Cedar Key and Steinhatchee, and you get into the Big Bend and Apalachicola. And listen, Tallahassee, thanks for the call. Tallahassee could see unprecedented damage. 120, 130 mile per hour winds. The storm is expected to make landfall 8 p.m. plus in the Panhandle. Where it actually hits, that's still to be determined. But the storm surge is being called unsurvivable up there. They're looking for a potential 20-foot storm surge. When it strikes and makes landfall, it is expected to be at least a Category 4, and there are some models that show potential intensification to a Cat 5. But any way you slice it, and we told you this earlier this week and yesterday, Tallahassee with all those grand oak trees and the live oaks, it's a very canopied city. So I hope they don't lose a lot of the trees. All right, back to phone, 748 at the MJ Morning Show. The Cash Kitty will be here in 12 minutes. So typically cats hate water, not the Cash Kitty.
That
Cash
cat
Kitty,
loves it.
well, has mental problems too. All
She splashes around.
So yeah, it's a mental cat. Cash Kitty happens in minutes. 8 o'clock, we'll give you the new keyword and we'll give you the text number. You text the word and you could win $1,000. You could be the next $1,000 winner. And don't forget, Dennis Phillips Live. Special MJ Morning Show edition. Dennis Phillips Live at 8:30 this morning. We'll have a long run with Dennis. Always an amazing conversation. We might even take phone calls. If you have questions for Dennis, might even conference those in beginning at 8:30 here on the MJ Morning Show on Q105. Bernadette is in St. Petersburg. Bernadette, hi, you're on the MJ Morning Show.
Good morning. How are you?
We are well. So are you working today?
I am getting ready to head out to work.
And what calls you to work? What kind of job?
I work at Arden Courts Memory Care Communities. We're assisted living for folks with Alzheimer's and other related dementia.
Yeah, see, that's essential. Yeah. I mean, you have to deal with patients. And how many patients at your facility?
We have 56.
Yep,
we are licensed to 56. We are at 100% occupancy right now.
Wow. Bernadette, thank you for what you do. It's very important work, and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
All right, Sherry in Lakeland. Phones are absolutely jammed. Sherry, welcome to the MJ Morning Show.
Good morning. Love you guys. Love Dennis Phillips.
Yep, Dennis Phillips in 40 minutes. 8:30, Dennis Phillips joins us live again. Sherry, what are you doing that's taking you into work today?
I'm actually a teacher.
Okay, well, school's not open, right?
My school is open. I work for an international boarding school in Lake Wales.
Yeah, and listen, out there, Lake Wales is in the middle of Polk County. Yeah, the effects there are going to be pretty minimal.
Yeah.
So you should be.
Yeah, most of our kids live on campus, so we have to be there for them.
Gotcha. Sherry, thanks for the call. Tony's in Brandon. Tony, hi. Welcome to the MJ Morning Show.
Morning, MJ. How are you?
Hey, Tony, go ahead.
Yes, I'm at work today. I'm working maintenance at a assisted living facility as well, so making sure the generators stay running and the lights stay on.
Well, that's essential. Thank you, Tony. Robin in Winter Haven. Robin, you're on the MJ Morning Show.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, I'm at work. I work for a travel agency. We mainly do cruises, so we are taking emergency calls and taking reservations and getting them in the system.
There you have it. Robin, thank you. Hold on a minute. Breaking news on the MJ Morning Show. Andrew just looked at the latest 8 o'clock advisory. Andrew, what do we have from the National Hurricane Center in the 8 a.m. advisory?
Helen has been upgraded to a Cat 2 with 100-mile-an-hour winds.
All right, a Category 2 at 100 miles per hour sustained winds. The 8 a.m. intermediate advisory has just come out. The forward speed is still north-northeast at 12 miles an hour, maximum sustained winds, 100 miles per hour. It is projected to turn into a major. So now we're at a Category 2. The major status kicks in at Category 3, and that is expected at a latitude before it hits the immediate Tampa Bay area.
Pretty quickly.
Yeah. So right now, I guess the latitude, if I give you some geographical reference, essentially probably on par with the latitude of Key West, but obviously much further west. Plenty of effects in the Keys as far as the rain bands. It is expected to hit Category 3 status around between, let's say, like Fort Myers, Port Charlotte, and like Venice. That's where they expect it to hit Cat 3 status out in the Gulf and then, plow toward the Panhandle. And they're expecting at least a Category 4 at landfall later this evening. And again, the spaghetti models are still in virtual agreement. You have the National Hurricane Center official track, which is in the middle, and you have multiple models. Some go a little bit to the right, to the east. Some go a little bit to the left, to the west. So what was that, Andrew? What were you saying?
I don't think they're looking at it to be a 4 anymore. I don't think it's going to reach a 4.
Well,
it's got a long way to travel from Sarasota to Apalachicola.
Yeah, I'm looking at the models,
right.
And I don't think they're reaching a 4 at this point.
Well, it was as of early this morning.
I hope it doesn't.
Well, hold on. What are you looking at?
Looking at the what do they call this? The intensity guidance models.
Right. Because the models this morning still had it as a Cat 4. We'll have Dennis Phillips on at 8:30. So maybe they've backed down the intensity. Hey, listen. If we could back intensity down, absolutely. If we could go from a projected 4 down to a 3, then absolutely. All right, Shannon in St. Petersburg. Shannon, hi, you're on the MJ Morning Show.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, Shannon, go ahead.
I'm actually just about to go over the Skyway Bridge.
Yes, Skyway is still open. The Skyway does not close until winds hit 40 miles per hour, and we're not there yet. So, Shannon, where are you headed?
I'm headed to Bradenton to my horrible boss.
Oh, no. I hope he hears you right now.
Wait a second.
I hope, not to get you in trouble, just so he knows how horrible he is.
Wait,
That's going to go over well.
Are you worried about mentioning your horrible boss?
Oh, I cannot. I'm a personal assistant for someone. So, yeah, I can't mention his name, but he wants me to come into work today because he's a big baby. I can't function without an assistant.
Oh, my gosh.
Shannon, are you worried that He's going to hear you?
No, not at all. No, he's not going to hear me at all. I promise. I'm sorry.
So why are you working for such a horrible boss?
Money, really.
You can't find another job without a horrible boss?
No, I probably will. I probably will. Yeah, I will.
Shannon, is this horrible boss? Is it somebody famous, or is it like a baron of industry? I mean,
what is your language over here? A baron of industry?
Who has a personal?
Yes, a baron of industry in Bradenton.
How many people do you know? How many people
do
you know?
Was it Rockefeller or Astor? Is it Astor?
Could be a Vanderbilt.
Was it? Is it the Getty family?
Listen, MJ, how many people do you know that have a personal assistant that would demand them come in on Hurricane Day? It's got to be some hoity-toity person,
Probably
right?
like a real estate mogul.
It is absolutely a hoity-toity person that can afford a personal assistant.
No kidding.
And he pays me enough that I'm driving over the Skyway Bridge. Literally, right now, I'm at the top of the Skyway Bridge.
What are you going to do today for this guy? Pick up his dry cleaning?
Just like stuff, like all the stuff, all the personal assistant stuff. It's almost like I'm a wife, but like without the, without the other part.
And Shannon, you hate this guy?
I don't hate him. Gosh. No, because he pays me. I don't hate him.
No, I think she just is annoyed she has to drive in today. She's like, he's a baby.
On normal days, do you roll your eyes, or on normal days, are you okay with him?
It's kind of a roll my eyes. It's a roll my eyes. Yeah, for sure.
Shannon, are you looking for another job?
I kind of am. I sort of am. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
How old is this boss? How old is he?
He's 57.
How old are you, Shannon?
54.
Oh, okay. You sound like a young 54.
Hey, MJ, do you need a personal
assistant?
assistant?
Yeah.
You could use one.
No,
Yeah.
I don't need a personal
Shannon's
assistant.
tired.
Yeah, I'd probably be worse.
I'm great. I'm great. I'll even drive over the Skyway Bridge.
Yeah, apparently so. Hey,
You'd
what
be
is?
from the pot to the kettle with MJ, so maybe stick where you are.
Oh, yeah, great. All right, what are conditions like? Any wind? Is your car blowing around at all? Top of the Skyway?
It's not. It's super. It's starting to get pretty rainy though, and the visibility is pretty poor.
Well, get back to driving. Be safe. But oh my gosh, what a crazy story.
Yeah.
All right.
But yay.
All right. Listen, drive safely.
Great. Thank you.
And then what about traffic? Is traffic high or low right now?
Oh my gosh, there is no one on the road.
Yeah.
There's nobody out.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Let me grab Tyson. And then I guess we're getting the calls on people showing up to work. Just out of curiosity, as you did hurricane prep, let's kind of shift some of the calls here quickly. And we'll also do some rundowns of everything you need to know. What supplies were you having trouble finding? Were you finding, where you were, that all the water was gone? Were you able to find any water yesterday? What about bread? Eggs are also one of the commodities that go quickly. So what did you have trouble finding, or what troves of merchandise were you able to find and maybe pass it along if a place was fairly well stocked as recently as possible? So what did you have trouble finding? What shelves were wiped clean for you? Anything weird? Anything odd? 800-990-1047. 800-990-1047. What could you not find when you were preparing yesterday in the stores? 800-990-1047. Let me grab Tyson in Lakeland. Tyson, hi, you're on the MJ Morning Show.
Hey, MJ. I got the most essential job out there. I work for a pool store, so we're open today.
Hold on. A pool store is open today?
Yeah, like all the pinch pennies are open today, right? I mean, not that that's where you work.
That's who I work for,
Okay.
Intensified. But the one where I live in Winter Haven is closed, but the North Lakeland store is open, so I'm on my way there now.
Very essential. People buying their shock and their big yellow jugs of that super chlorine today. Well, you know what?
Exactly.
Actually, Tyson, After a rainstorm, pools need a lot of attention.
Well, because the pool gets diluted and you have to, re-up the chemical content or whatever. Hey, thanks, Tyson. Appreciate it. Hey, it's Cash Kitty time. It is 8 o'clock at the MJ Morning Show. Andrew's going to try to get Shay Ryan on. Shay from ABC Action News, from the meteorological team. So we'll have Shay hopefully momentarily, and then Dennis Phillips live. The MJ Morning Show edition. Dennis Phillips will join us in half an hour at 8:30 this morning with the latest. Let's give you the word, which is rise. Text the word rise, R-I-S-E, as in the water level is expected to rise with the surge later today.
That's pretty insensitive of the Cash Kitty.
Yeah, bitch.
I mean, rise on a day of a hurricane? Come on.
All right, so the word this hour is rise, R-I-S-E. That's rise. Text rise nationwide right now to 45911. Text rise, R-I-S-E, to 45911 before quarter after for a shot at $1,000 cash. Or you can enter it on the Q105 app or at myQ105.com. Rise. Good luck from the MJ Morning Show on Q105. All right. Let's grab Jay, John's Pass.
See, this is what I want to hear. Somebody who's right on the Gulf.
Yeah, well, John's Pass is right there. Hey, John, welcome to the MJ Morning Show. Hi.
Hey, MJ. I drive Uber part-time. I listen to you guys every morning.
Thank you. And what is Uber like?
I enjoy everyone on the show. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. So, Jay, what is Uber like this morning? Are you getting calls?
No. I just came out for a little while, and I wanted to go to John's Pass and look at the waves. And Madeira Beach has standing water on Gulf Boulevard right now. You can tell the sewers are not handling it. And then I went out to John's Pass. The water is close to coming up into the parking lot. The water is already all the way up to the sand dunes. So if you tried to take a walk down the beach from John's Pass, you wouldn't be able to. I mean, you'd walk, but you'd be getting water. And I walked. They have a point out there, and I got hit by a wave a little bit, got my feet wet. But all Gulf Boulevard from like Indian Rocks Beach to Madeira Beach, John's Pass, you're starting to have some standing water already. So I can imagine what it's going to be like a little bit later. But I think they said, when do we have a low tide at 9 or something like that? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've got the tide chart here, and we have a high tide actually is set for 8:52 this morning. So these are Tampa Bay tide times 8:52. Low tide at 6:23. High tide again at 1:40 tomorrow morning. And again, tides vary in different parts of the Bay Area. But the big concern for the storm surge is after it has passed our latitude and you get the counterclockwise whip from the bottom up to the top. We're worried about surge essentially from 9 p.m. into the wee hours of the morning till about 1 a.m. seems to be the concern for surge in the Tampa Bay area. Stay safe, Jay. Appreciate it. Christina in Seminole. Christina, what supplies were you having trouble and when?
I wasn't necessarily having trouble. I went to Walmart on Wednesday to get some dog food for my dog.
Yep.
And when I got in there, I cracked up because the whole produce department was full of produce. I go down the chips aisle, and there's not a single chips, or all the junk food is completely gone.
Yeah. That's right.
I go to the soda aisle. All the soda except for the sugar-free stuff is gone. I died laughing because after I left there, I went to Winn-Dixie to grab a couple things by my house, and the liquor store, all the liquor in the cooler was gone. I died because I thought it was hilarious. Most people are out getting water and all the necessities that they need, and all the junk food and alcohol was gone.
That happens a lot. That people have the hurricane parties, or people like, oh, well, listen, if I'm going to get locked up, I'm going to have a good old time.
Yeah, if I'm going to be cooped up in my house for 2 days, I'm getting drunk.
Listen, that happens quite a bit, that alcohol sales will also increase in preparation of these storms. Christina, stay safe. Thanks for phoning in and listening. All right, 8:06 at the MJ Morning Show. Hey, you know what else doesn't get stopped during storm coverage?
Please say the rice maker.
Yeah, the rice, exactly.
Oh, thank God.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, we will give away later this morning, just keep listening, we will give away one of the Zoji Rushi Japanese rice cookers.
Yo, MJ, let's kick it. Rice, rice, baby. Rice, rice, baby.
Sometime this morning, I'll tell you exactly when to phone in. 8:06, I believe Greg D. is on the hotline from ABC Action News. Greg, good morning.
Good morning.
All right. By the way, programming note, your colleague, Dennis Phillips, will join us at 8:30, a special long radio edition. Dennis Phillips Live on the MJ Morning Show happens at 8:30. Dennis phoning in. We'll probably even take some phone calls. All right. So, Andrew, my producer, Greg, he was saying that maybe they've backed off of the Category 4 prediction. Is that accurate?
It's possible. You know, I think we're splitting hairs at this point. I think what we're looking at is probably maybe a 120, 125 intensity. Category 4 is 130. It's not going to make that much of a difference, but it could. It could remain a Category 3 before landfall up in the Big Bend.
As we sit here at 8:07 in the morning, those that are listening want a timeline. In the immediate Tampa Bay area, Hillsborough, Pinellas, and then to our south, Manatee, Sarasota, to our north, Pasco, Citrus, Hernando. What do we need to know timeline-wise?
Okay, so much of the day between now and 4 p.m., we're going to see periods of rain, maybe a couple of isolated tornado warnings, but also dry periods, peaks of sun, and it's going to be windy, but I don't think that it's going to be dangerous through 4 o'clock. So if you've got some last-minute things you need to get done, you still want to think about getting away from the surge because you're in the evacuation zone, you've got to do a couple things around the house, sure, no problem. I think the weather really starts to deteriorate between 4 and 6. And the worst of it, this is a quick storm, 6 p.m. to 10 or 11 p.m. max. And unfortunately, during that period, we're going to be worried about both the strongest wind gusts and that surge.
What are your thoughts on the National Hurricane Center and the surge predictions of 4 to 7 for Manatee, Sarasota, 5 to 8 for Pinellas and Hillsborough, and then 8 to 12 for Pasco, Hernando, Citrus?
I actually think they're pretty on target from what we're seeing. I think for most of us, if the storm does track toward Tallahassee instead of a little farther east, it's going to be the lower number. That's going to be the max. But I do think that those big numbers are absolutely possible. They are in the realm of this could happen in our area. And the timing for that, by the way, would be with the evening high tides, which for most places happen after dark. Now the tides, and here's the thing, they vary from location. Even over short distances, the high tide and low tide times can vary quite a bit. So make sure that when you are looking at a tide chart, it is a location that is closest to you if that tide is important to where you are.
We don't expect hurricane force winds. Do you think that the beaches along the coast, Indian Rocks, Reddington, St. Pete Beach, Clearwater Beach, do you think they'll see any hurricane gusts at 74 or greater?
Yeah, I think it's possible. I don't think that's going to be common. I think, sure, 74, 75 mile an hour gusts, especially from Indian Rocks north. Yeah, it's possible. Will most people see that? No. And if you're not right at the immediate coast, for the majority of us, this is just a windy day with most wind gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour max. And then some places west of I-75 likely gusting 60 to maybe 70. But I think, again, those 70-plus mile-an-hour wind gusts, those are not going to be common for most folks.
The big concern up in Tallahassee, obviously, all the trees, the live oaks, those grand oaks. It's a heavily canopied city with all those trees. Do you think we're going to see a lot of damage in Tallahassee?
Yeah, I really do. And I think, they've had a couple of hurricanes move through there in the recent years. So I think in terms of the tree cover that existed before, that has been reduced. And, each subsequent storm, as it reduces the weaker trees, the tree branches, the next one probably is a little bit less damaging. But this one could be the strongest one they've seen. And you're right. I went to school up there. There is going to be the most common type of damage in Tallahassee is going to be trees down on homes and cars and power lines.
As you know, Greg, Dennis Phillips, his son goes to FSU. And Dennis, I thought this was very telling that Dennis told his son, drive home, and he did. Also, our operations manager here at the Beasley Stations, Rick, his son just started FSU as a freshman in August, and Rick also had his son drive home as well.
Absolutely, and I think that's a great idea, and for a couple of reasons. Number one, with a lot of trees down, a lot of roads may be impassable. It might be hard to get in and out of some neighborhoods, not for a day, but for several days. And then you're looking at not having power in some cases for maybe 3, 5, 7 days without air conditioning.
Yep. And, some parents that have kids up at FSU that are still there, there's still time for them to get out. If they want to leave now or very shortly, the best way, take I-10 east. Don't skirt the coast and come down, but take I-10 east and then, get on to, 95 or 301 or something if you want to come back to the Bay Area. A little bit of a longer route, but there's still some time for college kids to get out of Tallahassee.
There is, and I think that's a great route. I think I-10 to 75 to 301 or even 95 is going to be extra safe, and have them come back to Orlando. If you don't care that they're at home, you just want to get them out of harm's way, the faster way to get out of the bad weather is just to head west on I-10 to a place like Destin or Pensacola, where they're not going to get anything. And even if the storm drifts in their direction, they're still going to be on the weaker side of the storm. So there are plenty of options. Now, I would not go north. I'm very concerned about flooding and tree damage in Georgia and Alabama.
I mean, you get into, Bainbridge, you get even up in Atlanta. They're calling for nasty weather in Atlanta and serious flooding up Atlanta into South Carolina and North Carolina.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they've got hurricane warnings up for Valdosta, Georgia. That's nowhere near the coast. It's incredible how far inland they think those strong winds could go. So, yeah, I definitely think east to west is the way to go, not north into Georgia or Alabama.
Greg D., ABC Action News meteorologist. Greg, thank you. Your colleague,
thank you, guys.
Dennis, will join us at 8:30 with Dennis Phillips live on the MJ Morning Show. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, guys. Stay safe.
Thank you.
There is nothing in Georgia, like by Columbus, that's built for a hurricane. Maybe besides like the military installation. I mean, all those houses, those wooden houses, those old trees, they don't. That's not hurricane country.
No,
so
you don't expect
Georgia's damage is going to be crazy.
Yeah. Hey, Disney and the other theme parks.
Are they open today?
Well, I saw that Disney extended their hours.
You know
what?
Well, they're in the right spot too.
Hang on, Andrew, our producer, is expert on anything Disney.
Hold on. Well, today, there was the Halloween party that would have started at 6 p.m.
Oh, the scary Mickey. Oh, I'm sorry. The not so scary Mickey party.
Correct.
So wait a minute. It's not the scary Mickey party. In order not to scare the bejesus out of kids, they have to call it the not so scary Mickey Halloween party.
Well, Universal has Halloween horror. And so Mickey's like, hold on, everybody. Why the hell are we trying to scare the crap out of all the kids? We're going to have the not so scary.
Let's make it fun for everybody.
Oh, look, it's Minnie, too.
Minnie's here, too. I want to be part of this not so scary Halloween party.
Oh, boy. All right, so here's the deal. The Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party.
Yes.
That was set for last night. Oh, I'm sorry. That was set for tonight. That's canceled. But the Magic Kingdom, listen to this.
We're going to extend our hours.
Exactly.
Because we're not going to have the scary, not so scary party.
Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, which was set for tonight, that's been canceled. But Can I get some Goofy?
LJ, you do a pretty good Donald. There you go.
All right, so the Magic Kingdom was set to close at 6 p.m.
To people who didn't have tickets
But
to the extended
now
party.
it's open until 8 p.m.
Good.
Right. So, hey, bad weather. We're staying open later.
I'd go if I didn't have to be here in the morning on Friday.
Really?
Yeah.
Andrew, are they doing fireworks tonight?
I don't think they're going to do the fireworks.
Because tonight's the night to see the fireworks, because that smoke will blow out in a second.
Yeah, let's see.
It's pretty gusty.
I mean, this will scare the tourists away.
Oh, Typhoon Lagoon is closed.
Is Busch Gardens open today?
Hang on a
I'm
minute.
sure it's not.
Hold on.
I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Say, I'm sure it's not.
Gardens closed.
And so,
Say it again.
Okay, thank you.
Busch Gardens is closed.
Okay.
Yeah. Busch Gardens is closed today here in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I wanted to get on one of their roller coasters.
SeaWorld Orlando.
I mean, you got to figure those zebras and elephants, they never see tropical storms in Africa.
They really don't.
They don't know about this stuff.
They start over there, right? They don't ever hit that continent. I mean, what do I know?
What do we know? I don't know. They're probably I don't know. I don't know where they come
Is the wind over there? I don't know.
8:16 at the MJ Morning Show.
I kind of like talking like Mickey all show.
I'll do Minnie with you. Wasn't as good.
Stop, please. All right. So the worst again late this afternoon into early evening. The surge is the biggest concern. That's going to be more of a 9 p.m. to 1 a.m., 2 a.m. overnight hour situation. The Sunshine Skyway is open. Traffic is extremely light. Nowhere near wind gusts of 40 miles an hour. That's when they closed the Skyway. Did you see at Tampa General? Did you see the
Aqua Wall?
Yeah, they put up the Aqua fence.
Yeah.
Where do they keep that? That is pretty bulky. Where do they keep the Aqua fence? Where's that stored? They have this. Roxanne, have you seen the Aqua fence?
No, but that would have been a cool photo op for Jason Momoa when he was in town. He could go be Aquaman in front of the Aqua fence.
Aquaman could help install the Aqua fence. Yeah, so around TGH, because listen, Davis Islands is low, and the area's only level 1 trauma center is Tampa General Hospital. And from a geography standpoint, it's kind of in a crappy spot.
Really? Who thought it was?
Who thought one way on, one way off, that thin little bridge, and we've got a level 1 trauma center in a flood-prone area. Not a great place for a level 1 trauma center when you're dealing with a storm. Even normally, I just don't know. Why did they choose on an island for the hospital?
And they keep building and building and building on it.
Yeah. They're settled there.
You can't divest from this property.
No, they're all in.
It's a pretty freaking extensive facility. And you're right. There's construction going on right now. They're expanding even more. But who decided that on an island with a little thin bridge, one way on, one way off, who thought that was a good place to put a hospital, which has turned into a level 1 trauma center, the most extensive medical care in the entire Tampa Bay area? Who thought that was a good location? I mean, even 60 years ago, whenever the thing was, who thought that was a good idea?
MJ, it was funny. I was watching a couple of reports about the hurricane that we had in the 1840s.
Yeah.
And that hurricane was so strong, it made Johns Pass.
Yeah.
Johns Pass was a land bridge, and then it blew through. That's why we have that opening there. And they were asking one of the reporters, well, have we learned our lessons since? And the guy's like, no, we built Tampa General Hospital right there on Davis Islands.
Oh, when was this?
It was on a PBS hurricane report.
Oh, really?
Just like the Tampa Bay's history, how we've had big hurricanes in the 1920s.
And now, Tampa Bay's history with hurricanes.
But we had a terrible one in the mid 1800s. I think we had a terrible one in the 1920s.
1921, right?
But and thankfully for the last 100 years, we've kind of really avoided a hurricane.
Yeah. So TGH put up the Aqua fence, and this is like this fold-up barrier which is planted on the ground, and then like a whole hinged thing folds up, and they interlock them like Legos, and they surround the property with this Aqua fence. Man, that must not have been cheap. I'm guessing that they got $1 million plus into the Aqua fence.
It's more than that.
What'd you say?
I bet you it's more than that.
Oh, I thought you said the S-bomb. I thought
might have.
I thought you said I bet that bleep is more than that.
I bet that.
Oh, that's what it sounded like.
Honestly, when it's packed up, MJ, they can probably keep it all in like a storage container or something. It doesn't take up that much space.
No, that is a long chunk. It's 1,000 feet long. You think it's going to you can put that in a storage container?
2 storage containers.
No.
A couple of U-Hauls down off of Gandy.
Anyway, the aqua fence is up at Tampa General Hospital.
Are you shutting Roxanne's mic off?
I didn't touch Roxanne's mic.
All right.
Huh. So the aqua fence goes up. Has it worked well in the past? And I'm not trying to be pessimistic here.
No,
but
they haven't had a need for it here.
Oh, okay. So this is
apparently the aqua fence has been proven successful in Europe in some flooding situations there, but the aqua fence has never been needed thus far in the Tampa Bay area at Tampa General Hospital to keep water out. The question is, if the surge that's predicted of 5 to 8 feet, that could actually test the aqua wall. And the aqua wall, by the way, the aqua fence, aqua wall, aqua stuff can keep water out up to 15 feet high, apparently.
Well, that's great to hear. I'm very optimistic about it. But I am also wondering, just based on our conversation we had with Greg D a little bit ago, talking about surge and its ability to move buildings. I mean, we have confidence in this?
Well, surge can, listen, a surge is not going to move Tampa General Hospital. You know, a heavy surge that's going to move a building, that's going to be like a
ramshackle.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a wood-framed, on slab, junkily constructed, 1950s, 1960s facility. That's going to potentially, if you have a massive wall of water, I mean, there have been surges. You look at some of the damage that occurred at Fort Myers Beach during Ian, and, I told the story. Andrew, buddy of mine down in Sarasota, his brother's place had water up to the roof, second story roof.
Jeez.
And his house was smacked, and he had evacuated really at the last minute and had gone further inland, but he would have been floating. My buddy Andrew's bro would have been floating. Hey, it might not have been survivable. They're saying that with a 20-foot surge up in the Panhandle, the National Hurricane Center has been very, very clear that it is unsurvivable.
I was in Fort Myers Beach in the spring, well after the storm.
Yeah, how much damage?
Catastrophic.
Yeah.
Everything that's being built is like part of like a Margaritaville came in and bought up all the land. So it's going to totally change the culture. But where I parked was a slab.
Yeah. So that's the point. There were satellite pictures that were shown of Fort Myers Beach before Ian, and then the satellite pictures that were shown after. And you had full, large 1, 2, 3-story structures. And I'm not talking about the heavy poured concrete commercial construction.
Like the beach bars and the things that make the beach the beach.
Slabs, that the buildings were gone, that all you had was the concrete slab, the pad where the building used to sit. So you parked, you think, on a slab that used to be a building?
Well, the guy told me because it was a large concrete area, and I parked right on there and got my spot, and I walked out, and it's all kind of smooth and no oil stains or anything on it. Doesn't really have lines.
Wow.
And I'm like, what is it? He goes, this was a building a couple of months ago. I'm like, oh, God.
I would expect that Bayshore is going to have a good deal of flooding. Bayshore Boulevard in South Tampa gets flooded when we get heavy thunderstorms. And a month or so ago, month and a half ago, we had that crazy rain. That was the most rain that I've ever seen in a 1 to 1.5 hour period in South Tampa. And listen, I've been here for 30 years. I've been here since 1994. I've never seen the amount of rainfall that we had like a month and a half or 2 months ago. And my street, I have a picture, and the water's up to like mid-shin in my street in South Tampa. Hey, I'm in an evacuation zone. So where I live in South Tampa, I'm in a zone, and whose phone went off yesterday with the
Yours did.
I keep mine on silent, but by the end of the show, I looked it through my texts, and I got the Hillsborough County residents A-zone.
I had it too.
Well, I got the text. So I mentioned that during the show yesterday, I got the text from Hillsborough County. I'm talking about the alert, like when you get an Amber Alert and your phone has like the old EBS test tone sounding noise and the box pops up with the warnings and everything. I got one or two of those yesterday. So my neighborhood, we're an A evacuation zone. Now, if you are on a slab and in my neighborhood in South Tampa, right close to Tampa Bay, my house is on the bay, but I'm built up and my lot, just the dirt, I'm at 6 feet above sea level. And then I built my house another 5 feet, 3 inches above. So my first floor is at about 11 feet, 3 inches.
So the dirt is 6 feet. So if Michelle buries you on the property, she would bury you at sea level. 6 feet under.
6 feet under.
Yeah. Hey, did you and Michelle have a talk yesterday? Did you see something? She's sending me a text. I don't know
about
why.
what?
About, did you see somebody like out of Alachua County saying that the storm might turn east and hit a county kind of above Chiefland where your kin is?
Well, my sister-in-law, she lives in Chiefland, which I believe is Levy County.
Okay.
Yeah, there is nothing. None of the tracks have this thing turning right.
She sent me a text like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, but there's seeing a little bit of a jog maybe.
Okay.
But the National Hurricane Center forecast, and you look at the spaghetti models.
But Levy County, Dixie County, Taylor County, that's on the dirty side. They're going to get all that volume of water.
Listen. There's no doubt about it. Levy, Dixie, Taylor County. Taylor County's right when you hit the Big Bend area in there. Those they're going to get some nastiness because they're on the dirty side. It's the right front quadrant that is the worst, the front right, and they're going to be certainly hit with some heavy duty storm surge. But as far as the track, I mean, it does continue to look like it's going to roll right close to, if not over, Tallahassee, according to the latest forecast tracks. We're going to speak with Dennis Phillips in mere minutes. We'll be phoning Dennis up here in about 2 minutes. Dennis Phillips live, special MJ Morning Show edition, and we might even take some phone calls with Dennis. So stand by. I might even conference in a couple of calls if you have any questions. Now, tornadoes, they're not saying very likely, but you might have some tornado watches or warnings that might hit later on. We'll get the full timing again with Dennis. We'll get Dennis's insight in just a matter of moments. But wobbles are possible. The intensity seems to be maybe coming down a little bit. Again, one of the issues has always been that over the last years, they've gotten really good with the forecast track. Now, I'm always a little weary. I'm always weary and leery because we've seen the forecast tracks change. Now, granted, major shifts have been some years ago. And, of course, one of the classics is Hurricane Charlie, which was making a beeline right for the Tampa Bay area, and it turned. It went right into Charlotte Harbor, into Port Charlotte, and just caused massive destruction. And I remember seeing the red firehouse roof of a fire station right along I-75 down in Charlotte County, and the roof was literally picked up from the east side of I-75, blown completely across I-75 to the west side and a couple of 100 yards in a field. The entire roof of a firehouse. Oh, you know what else I noticed?
What?
You know a lot of the big light poles along the interstate where they have the big like circular arrays of the floodlights?
But they're lowered now?
Yeah. I noticed that yesterday that a lot, because I had to roll back to Feather Sound yesterday. I left the show, went home, and then Dr. Childers, I'll get into this probably tomorrow or Monday, but Dr. Childers fixed my chipped tooth. I had a salad fork incident last Sunday, and I chipped my lateral incisor, and Dr. Childers fixed it. And I'll give the full story. But on the way back to Feather Sound at about 2 o'clock yesterday, I noticed that as I was coming across the Howard Franklin, and you get off at Ulmerton, and you have a lot of those big, tall, huge. A lot of times they're at the off ramps and the clover leaves. You'll see those big, huge light poles, and I noticed that they were lowered, and the lighting array was actually brought closer to the ground, only like, I don't know, 15, 16 feet off the ground, whereas usually they're, 40, 50 feet up in the air. So that was interesting. All right, let me call Dennis Phillips, who is expecting our phone call here. Dennis Phillips. Hold on a minute. Where are you, Dennis? There you are. All right, let me get Dennis on the line. All right, Dennis, 727. All right, calling up Dennis Phillips at his home in Palm Harbor. He has a weather center at his house where he has been tracking this. I don't even know if he's. What was that?
That was a weird thing.
I never heard. I never heard. Never heard that before. That was interesting.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Hi. Dennis Phillips, ABC Action News, chief meteorologist, and a special edition of Dennis Phillips Live, MJ edition. Hey, Dennis, welcome back.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're doing well. Hey, we've had your colleague Greg D on several times this morning. Very informative, so our thanks for that.
Awesome.
Yep. All right, what do you want to start with?
It's up to 100 miles an hour now. Latest advisory brings it up. Pressure's dropping. Pretty much doing as expected. I've been saying this for a couple of days now that I don't think we see hurricane force winds in the Bay Area. I just don't. I don't think anything, based on the current track there. And Greg mentioned this. I don't know if he talked to you guys about it, but him and I have been talking about it the last few minutes. So the official NHC track is, still just to the east of Tallahassee. But the GFS and the Euro are bringing it a little bit more to the east. At this point, the models, it's kind of like you throw the models out the window and you look out the window because they're not going to really do much. There's not going to be much change either way. But, we've been saying this for a while, that the worst of the wind is still about maybe 5 to 8 miles away from the center, right? So if the center of that storm is 15, 20 miles east of Tallahassee, the worst of the wind will be just at and just to the right of that center. So, I think there's at least a decent chance that extreme area of winds would be in a more rural part of Taylor County. West of Perry, but boy, it's still pretty close. And again, that's just kind of based on what the models are saying right now. But at this point in time, things are kind of going as expected. Our bigger concern is the surge. The winds it's going to be windy today, but it's not going to be anything crazy. And again, I think we stick with winds gusting 65, maybe Citrus County 70, but most areas just not going to have to deal with that. It's going to be the surge more than anything else.
Do you think that the surge, again, 4 to 7 for Manatee, Sarasota, 5 to 8 for Hillsborough, Pinellas, 8 to 12 for Pasco, Hernando, Citrus, where do you think we're going to fall? Do you think we're going to even get to the bottom of that, or the middle, or the top end prediction?
I'm going to defer to the Hurricane Center's prediction on this in terms of, because I don't want people to hear it say, oh, well, they're saying this, but he's saying this, and I like him, so I'm not going to go anywhere. That's always a slippery slope. But what I said yesterday, and I'm going to stick to it, those numbers that you just quoted, they're the most reasonable worst-case scenario. I think that's so important. It's not just, it's just not lip service. That is what the Hurricane Center says. When they put those numbers out, they are giving the most reasonable worst-case scenario. And I argue this often. How many times do we get the worst-case scenario? We do from time to time, but usually it's somewhere in between. That's life. It's usually somewhere between best case and worst case, right? So historically, when you look at those numbers that they predict, they're usually more on the left side of that worst case. There might be a few spots that are going to get that high number. Do I think the entire area will be on the right side of those numbers? In other words, the highest of numbers? I don't, because it usually doesn't work that way. might one or two spots pick up extreme numbers like that? Yes. And who's going to see that? You just never know. You don't know. But yeah, MJ, I would say on that 5 to 8, the majority will be closer to 5 to 6, and there's going to be a few that are going to be up to 8. I think that's usually the way that it works, and I suspect this one will probably be the same.
Michelle, my lovely wife, just sent me a text that a weather guy in Gainesville is predicting that Helene will turn east and hit a county above where my sister-in-law lives. She lives in Chiefland, which is Levy County. So there's some weather guy in Gainesville saying that he thinks it's going to turn and hit Dixie County.
I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, at this point, you don't even really look at the models anymore. You just kind of track it. And Taylor County is one up. You've got Dixie County, you've got Levy, you've got Dixie, you've got Taylor, and that's, again, pretty close to the area that got hit last year with the Dahlia.
Yep.
So anything's possible. I don't know this guy. I couldn't tell you, but I prefer to go with, what we've been going with in the Hurricane Center. I mean, I don't know.
This guy sounds like a rube.
Right. Hey,
I mean, but look, if at this point you just kind of look at it and see which way it's going, and I definitely think I will agree this, and like we're saying, it's better news for Tallahassee based on the current track. It is.
Listen, if you can move further east and put Tallahassee on the non-dirty side, on the left side of this thing, then that's much better. Oh, incident. Michelle just texted me again. Gainesville TV 20 is saying that even though the National Weather Service says it's hitting east of Appalachia Bay, the models that he is looking at thinks that it's going to be a Taylor County landfall. So some dude, Skippy the weather guy in Gainesville, that's his prediction.
Well, I mean, that's what we just said.
Yeah.
I just said Taylor County.
Yep.
I mean, yeah,
Yep.
I think I just said that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, I was just saying what Michelle just texted me. Hey, so, one of the things that kind of creeps you out, and, obviously this is to get attention, is the National Hurricane Center saying that the surge up on the Gulf Coast near the Big Bend, wherever this makes landfall, whether it is Dixie, whether it's Taylor, wherever this makes landfall, for the National Hurricane Center to say that the surge is going to be, in all caps, unsurvivable for those that want to, hey, I'm going to ride it out. Thoughts on that?
I think that's why they do it. I think they do it to get the attention, to let people know this is a serious storm, and you cannot run from the water. You can run from the water, you can hide from the wind, and it's the old expression we've used over and over again. And I really believe that they sometimes go that route to remind people just how bad with this kind of a thing. I do think they kind of deal in worst case scenario, because they don't want somebody saying, I didn't know how bad it's going to be. I believe that completely, because that's the worst thing that they could hear. I didn't know it was going to be this bad. I thought it was going to be this bad. I think they would rather err on the side of caution. I can't speak for the NHC, but doing this for a long time and seeing how their verbiage is and what they do, I think they want really to give that worst case scenario. And you know what? If it isn't as bad as they're forecasting, that's okay for them, because maybe that got people out, and otherwise they would have stayed. But yeah, I mean, I'll say it again. Historically, we don't hit those worst case numbers. And for a couple of days now on the air, I've been saying, you say a 5 to 8, typically the 5 is more reasonable. The 8 is the higher end worst case scenario. And I think they're okay with that message if it gets people to safety and out of harm's way.
Dennis Phillips, Chief Meteorologist, ABC Action News, is with us with a special MJ Morning Show edition of Dennis Phillips Live. And I think it's important to mention again that with surge, that 100 deaths because of surge was attributed to Ian at Fort Myers Beach.
Yeah, and that was one of the situations where I think everybody knows. Everybody thought that storm was going to be farther north for a good long period of time. And even though there was probably 24 hours of messaging that it was going to be closer. At that point, it's kind of too late for people to leave. I mean, I think that's what happened for a lot of folks. Either it was too late or the traffic was too bad, or they're like, well, you know what, I'm just going to ride it out now because I don't have anywhere to go because I haven't made any plans. I'd rather stay at home and hope for the best. And it was tragic. And, that's what they did not want to happen again. I think the Hurricane Center is doing a great job of, saying, look, this is the worst case possible. This is what you need to prepare for. And if you leave, so be it. You come back and if they get a little bit of grief because it wasn't as bad as they were forecasting, I think they're okay with that.
Hey, Dennis, do you mind now when you do DPL and you stream on YouTube and particularly on Facebook, you take questions and people on Facebook are just loading up the questions. And when I go onto Facebook, and I watched you on Facebook Live, Dennis Phillips Live last night, and the questions are firing off like a machine gun, like 1,000 rounds a minute. I mean, it's like... So do you mind if we grab some phone calls here and do Ask Dennis, and I can conference in some of our listeners? Do you mind if we take some calls?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, let's do it. 800-990-1047. Would you like to talk to Dennis Phillips, Chief Meteorologist, ABC Action News? If you'd like to ask Dennis a question, 800-990-1047 gets you in. 800-990-1047. What do you want to ask Dennis Phillips right now? This is a rare opportunity. 800-990-1047, and we'll conference call you right in with Dennis Phillips right now. Our first question comes from Roxanne. Hello, Roxanne. Welcome.
Hi, Dennis. Roxanne in Tampa.
Hey, Roxanne.
I live in Westchase. If Tampa receives 5 to 8 foot storm surge off the Gulf Beach or from within the bay, how far inland does that travel, miles and depth? I know that's very specific.
Well, from the bay itself, I mean, I would not expect it to be a tremendously far amount inland. I don't. I mean, I know you see those giant signs when you're driving toward Westchase. If you get a surge, it could be this high when you get to this point, and that'll get your attention. But I think, will you see some water build up in some spots? Yeah. But do I think it's going to be anything that's going to be, overly dramatic? I don't. I think, Oldsmar and over toward Westchase is kind of a unique area. It's right at the end of the bay, at the top of it right there. And I just think, based on how far it is offshore and everything else, I think I'm more on the lower end. I'm more on the 4 to 5 foot probably. And the amount that it went inland is not going to be much different than it was with the Dahlia, I think.
Got it. Thanks.
Do you think the Skyway is going to close with winds hitting 40?
It's a close call, probably, for a briefer period of time. I mean, we've already had tornado warnings out there this morning. We've actually had one right now, I think last I saw, down to the south and east. So, I mean, it's, for the folks who haven't been paying any attention to what we've been saying, the worst of this wind is going to be late afternoon, early evening. And I'll say it again. I don't think we're anywhere near hurricane force winds here. I think we're, 50 gusts to 55 to 60. Now, usually the Skyway closes, 40 to 45-ish. So I'm sure there will be times as high as the Skyway is, because the wind's going to be higher up there than it will be down on the surface, that, you will see some periods of time that it's going to close. I think it will. I think there'll be a couple hour period where we're going to be looking at stuff like that late afternoon, early evening. But, the farther north you are, the more the wind's going to be. So Citrus County will be much higher. And, talking about what we said earlier, I do think the way the track is shaping up right now, it does look like that worst of the wind, the extreme wind, would be east of Tallahassee. I mean, I'm not going to tell people that they're not going to they're not going to skate. They're going to be a lot of trees down. They're going to be a lot of damage in that way. But the worst of it, which is what I think everybody's afraid of, I think Taylor County might very well be how this ends up playing. It's a Dahlia part 2.
All right, let's go to phones. If you want to ask Dennis Phillips a question, 800-990-1047. Phones are loaded right now, but when we hang up with someone, try to sneak in and grab one of the open lines. 800-990-1047. Dennis Phillips Live, MJ Morning Show Edition. Eve in Palm Harbor, right up in Dennis's neck of the woods. Eve, are you a neighbor of Dennis by any chance?
No, but I know where his house is.
Yeah, well, because he's got the Christmas display, the Halloween display, he's got the 4th of July display, he's got the Flag Day display, he's got the Arbor Day display, he's got everything going on.
Is your lawn littered right now with Halloween crap?
No, I decided not to put it up until after the storm.
Yeah, my neighbors put all their crap out last weekend, and like the post guy's like, "You're gonna have a bunch of new Halloween decorations tomorrow."
Guess what? There are like 17 of the giant 13-foot skeletons and the Grim Reaper. They're all different new the giant Home Depot Halloween decorations. They were all up and now they're all down in my neighborhood. So people took them down. All right, Eve, what's your question for Dennis Phillips?
How much wind speed would it take to blow away a human?
Hold on, say it. You dropped out. Say it again. Ask again.
How much wind speed would it take to blow away a human?
Well, I don't think we're going to be anywhere near that. I mean, if you watch the Weather Channel sometimes, even like it's 55, I'm flying away. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have too much to worry about. I mean, you know, if I will tell you though, Cat 4 into Cat 5, I've been in a Cat 4 almost to a 5 when I was chasing storms back in with Hurricane Rita back in Beaumont, Texas. And when you're at about 135 to 140, it is absolutely hard to stand up straight. I mean, it does blow you around.
Right.
But
hey, there's that video of Al Roker somewhat, I don't know, 15, 18 years ago where Al Roker got like blown over, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen anyone actually that's being blown down the street.
And Dennis, where the hell is Jim Cantori from the Weather Channel right now? Do we know where he actually is?
Yeah, he went to Tallahassee. Yeah, he went to Tallahassee yesterday. It started in Port Richey and he went to Tallahassee, and now he's probably going to move. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they bump their people a little bit to the east as well.
Yep.
Again, there's so much less stuff up there in terms of population when you get 40 miles east of Tallahassee. You know, and if that's the way it plays out, that's great news. And I'll say it again. I don't disagree that a Taylor County landfall, to me looks every bit as likely. The Hurricane Center is really slow in making changes. They don't like to make big steps. They like to take baby steps. They'll move them a little bit at a time because they don't want to have to move it right, then move it back left. And, you know, they're very conservative in that. So while they're on the west side of the guidance tracking, I would not be surprised at all at 11 o'clock if they bump this track a little bit more to the east. But they don't want people in Tallahassee like, oh, well, you know what, it's okay, I'm going to go back.
Yeah.
And then something happens.
All right, Ed in Largo. Ed, you're on the MJ Morning Show. What's your question for Dennis Phillips?
Hi, Dennis. This is Ed in Largo. You are the greatest. Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh. Can you please tell me where is the eye of the hurricane located in reference to our Largo area along the East Coast? I just see this hurricane always sitting down there by Key West. Is that where it's at now?
Yeah, it is. It's way down in the south. It will end up being about, I would say, about 110 to 120 miles, 100 to 110 miles west of Largo when it passes tonight around 7 or 8 o'clock. So because it's far enough west, we're not expecting hurricane force winds in Largo.
Ed, thanks for the call. Jacob in Valrico. I think, is this our good friend Jacob?
We'll find out.
Yeah, hey, Jacob, it is. It's Jacob 2 times.
Hi.
Jacob,
Yeah.
welcome back to the MJ Morning Show, Jacob.
Hey, MJ Kelly, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing well. What's your question for Dennis?
Hey, Dennis. Hey, Dennis Phillips, if I'm in Valrico, Florida, which I am, what conditions can I expect here in Valrico?
You're going to get 40, 45, maybe gust to 50. You'll be perfectly fine.
There you go. Jacob, always great to hear from you. Dottie in Spring Hill. That opens up a line, by the way. 800-990-1047. 800-990-1047. Questions for Dennis Phillips. This doesn't happen often. You know, to be able to call in and I'll conference call you right with Dennis Phillips from ABC Action News. Dottie in Spring Hill, what's your question for Dennis?
I want to know about what time it's going to hit, say around Tampa or Spring Hill area.
All right, so her phone's not great, Dennis. What time, again, timing for Tampa and Spring Hill?
Yeah, tropical storm force winds. The worst of this wind for y'all will be between around 5 in the afternoon and 7 o'clock tonight. That and again, when I'm looking at the numbers, the updated numbers right now. So right now it's 320 miles southwest of Tampa. That's the latest. It's 320 miles southwest of Tampa. It's moving north-northeast at 12 miles an hour, and the maximum winds are 100 miles an hour. So that's kind of where it's located right now. It is up to 100, so it's Category 2 now, and the pressure's dropped quite a bit. So, again, in terms of timing, yeah, I would say that biggest thing to remember, hurricane force winds extend about 65 miles from the center. If this is going to be 100 miles west of us, we're not going to get hurricane winds. I mean, I think that's the thing people need to listen to, that, yes, where it makes landfall is going to be a major hurricane. We are not going to see the impacts of a major hurricane. We're just not.
Now, Dennis, I heard you address this specific question on TV last night. Doug has that question. Doug is in Lakeland. Doug, your question for Dennis Phillips.
Good morning.
How's it going?
I'm here in Polk County in Lakeland. I was just wondering what our worst case scenario may be over here.
Yeah, you guys got well, I don't want to say nothing to worry about, but you are going to have 35 to 45 winds. You got nothing to worry about in Polk County. You don't.
Well,
I mean,
it's a gust or it's a sustained wind.
Those are gusts.
Yeah.
I mean, I think tropical storm force winds extend 250 miles out from the center. So you're going to get some tropical storm force winds, and maybe even 50 on a gust. But I mean, think about an afternoon thunderstorm.
Yep.
You get 50 mile an hour winds with an afternoon thunderstorm. Anybody in Polk County, Hardy, DeSoto Highlands, the impact is going to be pretty minimal overall.
Thanks for the call, Doug. Appreciate it. Polk County, a lot of folks listening in Polk County concerned, and again, the effects are not going to be massive for Polk County. Stormy, look at this name. Hey, Dennis, we've got a Stormy calling in from Tampa.
Come on.
Nice.
And it's a guy? Stormy, Stormy, is that on your birth certificate?
And now my real name's Stevie.
Okay, Stevie Stormy. All right, what's your question in Tampa for Dennis Phillips?
Hey, you keep saying we're going to lose power, but if we don't have wind, how are we going to lose power?
Well, there's going to be wind. Yeah. There's just not going to be hurricane force winds. I mean, let me be clear. When I say we're not going to have sustained hurricane force winds, that means that we're not going to have 75 mile an hour winds that are going to last continuously for 60 seconds. That's what sustained winds mean. Gusts, you guys know what a gust is you're outside and a storm comes and boom, it gusts for a couple of seconds and then it stops. We will have gusts up to 55. Now, if you're closer to the coast, you're going to see gusts 60, 65. We lose power in an afternoon thunderstorm, and afternoon thunderstorms can go 50, 55. So we're going to have wind. We're just not going to have sustained hurricane force winds.
Stormy,
I have another question.
Go ahead.
Hey, and everybody asks you that. Can I walk my dog?
Yep, you can walk your dog or your armadillo or anything else. I mean, we have some pretty crazy questions.
And can I take my cruise? Can I take my cruise also?
Yeah, Stormy, you know the drill. Thank you, Stormy. So, yeah, Dennis, you always get the same questions. Is my flight going to be canceled? Yes, your flight at Tampa International Airport today is canceled.
Canceled.
But you know what was interesting is people were asking about going to Disney, and I don't know if I don't know if it's still the truth. It was last night.
It is.
Not only was Disney open, they're open 2 hours later.
Yeah. So Disney was supposed to close at 6, and Disney is going to stay open till 8 o'clock tonight. But no, Dennis gets the same questions. Can I walk my dog at 4:23 in the afternoon? Is my flight going to be canceled? Is my cruise leaving the port of Tampa? All these same questions. Hey, let me go to the power outage, and I'm curious about this. You guys have a product, a graphic that predicts power outages like low risk, medium risk. What generates that? Explain that software that you guys show on TV.
I mean, it's an IBM product. The weather computer, the weather company that we use was bought by IBM quite a while ago. And they have some AI software that it actually, and heck if I know how they do it. I mean, clearly it's obviously based on wind gusts and when they expect the highest wind gusts, and those power outages, the numbers come out exactly when the wind gusts are higher. So my guess is they probably just look at when there's 55 to 60 or higher, and they do it accordingly. I mean, it makes sense.
And the immediate Tampa Bay area, it looked like it was all in yellow, meaning low risk for any significant power outages.
Yep. Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I think it's a bunch of eye candy. I don't think there's much validity to it. I really don't. I think, obviously, the moderate to higher risk is going to be where the winds are heavier, longer, and that would be more northern counties.
Listen, we've had like a small tree branch hit a power line in my neighborhood. It takes the power out for an hour, till Tico gets out there. So who the hell knows? Yeah. All right, Dennis, let's grab some more calls. Your phones are absolutely loaded. Dennis Phillips, ABC Action News chief meteorologist, is on with us here on the MJ Morning Show on 104.7 FM, Q105. Annette is in Spring Hill. This is an important question. Annette, go ahead. You're on with Dennis Phillips.
So my concern is the storm surge. My dad lives in Hudson, right off of 19, and he's in Zone A, and he never leaves. And I see the storm surge on the news is, I think, 6 to 8 or something.
Yeah. Did he flood in Adalia?
No.
If he didn't flood in Adalia, he's probably not going to have a massive amount of flooding. I am a little concerned about Pasco County North. I am. I think it's. I'll never forget when I first started working here back in the mid '90s. There was a tropical storm, Josephine, and I went up to Hudson. I was right on US 19 and went up to Hudson, and there was water on 19 that was thigh high. I mean, the water really can come in. And yeah, I do think that, I guess ultimately my question is, has he flooded where he is in any storm in the past 20 or 30 years?
We've only been here for about 8.
Oh, okay. All right. So you weren't there for that. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the surge map right now, and I will tell you, MJ, you know about this too. I mean, there are products out there that is really helpful for people who want to know their exact locations. Because you all know, I mean, there are some areas that are facing west, some that are facing southwest. This product is pretty interesting. If you go to the NHC page, nhc.noaa.gov, you can literally click on your neighborhood, and it shows exactly how much water is expected in the neighborhood. I mean, I'm sitting here looking as I'm talking to you. I'm kind of looking at Hudson here. To me, I'm thinking it's more on the low end in most spots, but in Hudson, it is probably they're probably looking at 6 feet or higher. I mean, I do think Hudson's going to get some water coming in. Now, the question is, how far in does it go? How far is he from the water?
He is literally right off of 19 by Arapika.
Okay, he's on Arapika. Okay. All right, well,
he's
if he's going to get some water.
He's right on 19 by Arapika.
Okay, yeah. I mean, look, like I said, I have seen that area flood before. It was back with Josephine. I would not be surprised if he gets some water. I don't know his elevation. I don't know the specifics, but yeah, I think anybody Pasco County North, even Crystal Beach, Ozona in Pinellas County North, they're gonna get some water. I mean,
my buddy Craig, the tire guy's right next to the railroad tracks and the jogging trail in Ozona. So hey, Craig, look out. Hey, Dennis, can you hang? Can I get a quick break in? The phones are absolutely loaded for you.
Yeah, I can, and then I gotta get to work.
All right,
so,
you know what? Hold on a second. I'll tell you. I won't take the break. Let me extend the break here. Let me just grab a few more calls, and we'll let Dennis Phillips roll. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right, I'll push the break off. Thanks for the call, Annette. Appreciate it. Let's grab Tony in Tampa. Tony, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Dennis Phillips live on the MJ Morning Show. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Dennis. I am Tony from Tampa, and I'm like a little child. I would like to know what is the basic cause of your hurricane and seriousness, and I was never able to understand that and why, and also what is a surge and how does it develop?
Okay, yeah, it's a good question. So when you think about flooding that happened with Debbie last month, that was not surge. That was just rainfall. That was too much rainwater coming in a short period of time, and that's called freshwater flooding. So that is just flooding from too much rain. Surge is literally the storm pushing water as it's moving toward you, and when that water gets to where you are, like if it's in the bay or it comes up against the solid source, that water is going to rise. I mean, imagine like in a bathtub, when you push the water out and it goes up to the side and it goes up a little bit and then comes back down. Surge is the exact same thing.
When the water building up,
correct.
That's what causes the surge. Okay, thank you.
That is what causes the surge. Mm-hmm.
All right, Tony, thanks. Okay. Good question, buddy. And final call here, and we got to let Dennis roll because, Dennis, you need to get to the studio, correct?
Yeah, I got to get in.
All right, last call, Diana in Brooksville. Diana, MJ Morning Show with Dennis Phillips live. Yes, Diana.
Good morning. Good morning, Dennis. Can you guys hear
Diana,
me?
how are you? Yeah, I can.
Good, thank you. I live in Hernando County. We're below Citrus, above Spring Hill, and Weeki Wachee, where the mermaids are. We're at least 10 miles north of that and about 3 miles in. So what should we expect?
Yeah, if you're 3 miles in, I don't think you're going to have to worry about surge. Looking at your area right now on the surge map, you're going to see winds this afternoon, late this afternoon, but even more this evening, gusting to probably 60, 55 to 60, similar to what you had with Idalia last year.
Okay.
So I don't, I'm not worried for water with you. And again, for the folks who are just tuning in, I'm just, look, it's going to be a windy day. There's going to be some tree branches down. There's going to be some power outages from the wind, but we are not going to see winds of 75 miles an hour for any kind of extended period of time. Citrus County might get 65 to 70 later tonight, but for most of our area, people are going to and if you're not on the water, people are going to wake up tomorrow and say, wasn't that bad. It's just another one of those storms. That's what most people will think because the winds are not the big story. And you're going to get some gusty winds for a few hours, much like you did with Idalia, and that'll be the end of it. The biggest concern for our area is obviously the surge. It's where areas will flood because you can't do anything about that water. It comes in. In terms of landfalling, as we said earlier on today, the NHC track is still closer to Tallahassee, but I'm inclined. The GFS and the Euro are looking at Taylor County, and that seems to be a pretty reasonable expectation. If that's the case, then the worst of this is going to be east of Tallahassee.
It's going to spare, if it goes east, if they do update the official track with the 11, as some of the models are pushing it east, it kind of spares Tallahassee the worst of it now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dennis, by the way, I'm going to let you go, but I'm on Verizon Wireless. I just got an emergency alert. I've got, the box came up. I've got the flashing red triangle with the exclamation point. Emergency alert, extreme, complete evacuations for Pinellas Zone A, mobile homes now. So
yeah, that was issued yesterday. Yep. And I guess they're just reminding people, if you haven't gone yet, you still have time. And you do, by the way, because that surge isn't going to be really, really bad, or the worst that it's going to be, at least put it that way, until later on this evening, like late this evening, between maybe 9 and 1 a.m. 9 p.m. and 1 a.m. is when I think we're going to see the second high tide, and the storm will be past us. We'll have an onshore flow. So there's still time. I don't think the driving conditions will be really that bad until late this afternoon when the winds start to pick up as it gets closer. Because, like we said, it's still a couple hundred, 300 miles southwest of Tampa. And the wind field, hurricane winds extend about 70 miles out. So this stays more than 70 miles, 80 miles offshore, which it will. We're not going to get hurricane winds.
All right, Dennis, what time do you hit TV? When are you making first appearance today?
We're just kind of rotate. We got everybody in. Yep. So I'll be in later this morning. It'll be me and Shay and Greg and Jason. So, yeah, we'll be on all day and all night.
Dennis, my team here, all of our listeners appreciate your access and availability here on the MJ Morning Show.
My pleasure. And, we'll be doing some live streaming throughout the day, too. So feel free to drop me a text, or if if you have any information you want, you guys, you know how to get me.
All right, Dennis, we'll talk to you tomorrow morning for a follow-up. Have a great day.
All right, see you guys. Bye.
All right.
See ya.
Dennis Phillips, over half an hour.
Wow.
Fest, don't be obnoxious.
Dennis is a busy guy.
I know. Over half an hour straight with Dennis Phillips.
Tell you what, man, you don't push back that commercial break for many people. It was really nice.
I push that sucker back. All right, 9:05 at the MJ Morning Show. We are in the 9 o'clock hour now. I'm running. That was an hour and 40 minutes of nonstop MJ.
I got a dumb question.
Yeah.
What's your question?
Can we just give the rice cooker to Dennis?
He deserves it.
Every day. Can we give like today's rice cooker to Dennis?
I have.
Can we?
I'll get him. I'll buy him one.
What?
All right, I got to give it to a listener. We will give away the Zoji Rushi rice maker. It is National Rice Month. I love this appliance. That's why a radio morning show is giving away rice cookers from Zoji Rushi, the best name in rice makers. Because I love this. I'm telling you, I couldn't live without this thing. I love this device. In fact, later today, I'm going to go home after the show. I'm going to make 4 cups of great Japanese koshi hikari sticky rice. All right, we'll give away the Zoji Rushi rice cooker sometime this hour before we shut things down here on the MJ Morning Show on Q105. Hey, if you have any wind issues with your roof, you call Westfall. Just texted me, I think the power glitched. All right, hold on a minute. I mean, it's a little too early for my Tico to be glitching.
You know? At your house?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me find out, man. Why does she think the power glitched? All right. 9:14 MJ Morning Show here on Q105. 104.7 FM. I didn't tell her I was
Hello.
Hey, you sound distressed. You okay?
Well, because I had to reach all the way under the bed to get the phone.
Okay. Hey, why do you think the power glitched?
Oh, because the radio went off without me touching the button.
Because you're still in bed, obviously, in the dark, but you have the radio on and the radio turned off.
Yes.
Okay. Did the alarm go? Did it make? All right.
Nothing else. Well, because I couldn't see or hear anything else. I just had the radio on and it went off, and I was like, what the heck? What the heck just happened? And then I went to turn it back on, and it came on, so I assumed that the power glitched. All right, goodbye.
Well, hold on a minute. You sent me a text, and you said, don't say it.
You know, I'm not going to get into this. Goodbye.
Well, because I teased it.
Goodbye.
So you don't want me to say it?
No.
Come on. It's not that bad.
Gotta go. Going for pancakes.
You're going for pancakes?
You're going for hurricane pancakes?
Yeah. Yes, hurricane pancakes.
Yeah, Chloe is not working today. Chloe was also off on Wednesday, so no work for Chloe yesterday. They went for pancakes, daughter, mommy pancake breakfast, and I guess they're going to do it again. Listen, the weather here is not really going to get bad until 4 p.m. The event for us locally, the worst, according to Dennis Phillips, who we just had on, the worst for us weather-wise here in the Tampa Bay area is going to be like 6 to 10 p.m. And then, of course, the concern is with the surge, and this still has to, verify on what actually happens, but the surge event is going to be in the areas that are prone to flooding and surge. It's going to be 9 p.m. to 1, 2 in the morning, so later tonight into the overnight hours will be the surge event. So you're not going to wait for me to, I'm off the air in 40 minutes. You're not going to wait for me?
Maybe.
I'll go with you. I'll go with you for
Yes, because your new nickname is
what?
Big Fluffy Pancake.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So yesterday, Chloe and Michelle, they went without me. I met them. So I'm like, just wait for me.
Because you don't eat anyways. Like, why do we have to wait for you? You don't even like breakfast.
Yeah, I'm not really a breakfast eater, unless you make your buttermilk biscuits. Then I'm all in on those things.
But then, Michelle, when he does finally get breakfast, you can have a 15-minute head start on him. And he'll still finish before you.
But also, let me point something out. I asked Michelle for her amazing Southern Living buttermilk biscuits, which is the Southern Living recipe with white lily flour and buttermilk, and Michelle makes amazing biscuits. And you denied me last week, and I asked you to make the biscuits, and you just flat out said no.
Because we had a huge pasta dinner the night before.
Oh, come on. Pasta schmasta. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
spread it out.
I had a quart of my frozen bolognese. And then I used a real Italian bronze dye tagliatelle.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Hey, listen, how good was that?
It was very tasty.
It was phenomenal. So then she denied me biscuits on Sunday. We could have had brunch. I even said, hey, make biscuits for dinner.
You had pancakes yesterday with me,
All right.
remember?
Are you going to the same place as yesterday?
Probably. Yeah.
You going to the same place?
Those pancakes were so big and fluffy.
Well, I commented. What did I say?
You said that's a big fluffy pancake.
It was
And Chloe said you're a big fluffy pancake.
So now they're calling me. Now they're calling me Big Fluffy Pancake.
That makes no sense at all.
It makes no sense at all. That's my new nickname.
Oh, Chloe, that's the dumbest thing ever. She's
You know
terrible
what?
at name calling.
Fester.
I mean, it's not like I was there.
Listen to me. You've known MJ a long time. It doesn't have to make sense to bother him. Once it bothers him, you just keep doing it.
Yeah, it bothers him because it makes no sense. I mean,
So-
I'd rather really insult the guy.
No.
So hurricane breakfast again this morning.
Yeah.
So I guess just wait for me and I'll drive. It was Kiki's. Have you been to Kiki's?
I love Kiki's.
Is there a Kiki's near you?
Yeah, there's a Kiki's by Citrus Park Mall.
All right. So this is Kiki's in South Tampa.
I already called. They're open.
On South Dale Mabry, right next to the Neptune and Dale Mabry Publix.
I've been to Kiki's.
It's in that parking lot, and I've never been to Kiki's, but that building used to be. That was it was the failed Publix Crispers salad bar concept.
Yeah, I've been to Kiki's.
I mean, Publix doesn't screw a lot of things up. I mean, that was like a failed concept that they abandoned. Crispers.
It was hurting pub sub sales. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I always want to sing, whenever I go in Kiki's, I always want to sing, "Don't Go Breaking My Heart."
Oh, because
Kiki D.
of Elton John and Kiki D?
Yeah, that should be their theme song. Great food.
Kiki, don't go breaking my... You know what? I'll do the Elton part, and you do the Kiki part. We'll do a duet.
I don't even think that was recognizable. I was so off the notes on what I just did. People probably be like, what song is that?
I recognized it.
Okay, good.
By the way,
Lyrics, at least.
Michelle, wait for me. I'll get out of here right at the show's end. I'll pick you guys up, and we'll have hurricane preparedness breakfast at Kiki's Breakfast Place.
All right.
Just wait for me.
Yeah, wait for the big fluffy pancake to come home.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, the pancake was the size of my head, and it was very...
Okay, that's where it is. Your hair is fluffy. You've
very-
got a pancake head. It makes perfect sense.
It was very, very fluffy. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, it was very, very fluffy. All right, just wait for me and I'll drive. We'll all spend a little quality time together. Hey, it's not often. Hey, Chloe started a new job and she's got 2 days off in a row in the middle of the week.
I know. We're enjoying it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, sweetie. All right, see you in a bit. By the way, I want to apologize. When I came back from the last break and I used the China Grove rejoin music, the particular audio fader slider was in mono.
What?
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I moved it into stereo in the first couple of seconds, but I got to play it again because, China Grove starts off with guitar in one channel. So let me just hit it again. All right. And Fester, hold on a minute. What did you just do?
I made it full screen.
Just leave it. Two things involving neighbors. I had a neighbor that was supposed to fly out tomorrow, and their flight is canceled, and the airline is moving them to Saturday morning, which kind of messes things up. But the deal is the assets aren't going to be there. All the airlines, The last flights got out of Tampa International Airport around midnight last night. I saw like 5 in a row. I saw Southwest, Delta ×2, American ×2. I saw a whole lineup getting ready to pull out of Tampa at 11:45 last night on my Flight Radar 24. And there were a few more on the ground, and everything's gone out of Tampa. The airlines don't have assets on the ground. So the issue is, you're like, well, the weather's going to be gone later tonight. Why is the airport closed? Because, or why is my flight canceled? Because the airlines are not going to have the normal rotation of equipment, of assets on the ground. So you've got flights that are here. Like for early morning flights out tomorrow, the aircraft is typically parked at the gate, and it came in late the night before. And those planes are just not going to be there for a good portion of tomorrow until they start flying assets back in order to take people out. So neighbor of ours was supposed to fly out, and there you go. They're pushed off till Saturday. Let me tell you what else happened. What time is it? 9:23? All right. You know what? Let me grab my break here so I don't get too late. My phone blew up yesterday. I had like 20 neighbors not hitting me up in the group text, like privately. Like we've got a whole group text in the neighborhood. There's like, I don't know, 30 people on the thing. And it was a full discussion on this. But then I started getting all these like individual texts from people wanting to know what I was going to do. Like, am I an influencer?
Oh, you know it.
Yeah. What will MJ do?
20,000, baby. You're all day an influencer now.
So what question do my neighbors want to know? Am I going to do this regarding the hurricane? All right, hold on. I'll tell you next. It's the final chunk, final segment of the MJ Morning Show. Might grab a couple of calls as well. We're back in minutes on the MJ Morning Show. I also have you know what? Give the rice cooker away the minute we get back. Zojirushi rice cooker, your chance to win that in minutes during National Rice Month. And thanks to Zojirushi for giving us 5 rice cookers to give away this week. I love this appliance. It's one of my greatest pleasures on the planet. Yes, a rice cooker, folks. All right. We'll give away the rice cooker next, so don't move. Hey. Listen, I'm no marketing genius over here, but Home Depot ought to be running commercials like for shop vacs to suck water out of your living room in case you flood a little bit.
You know, they can't be so insensitive during the storm.
Yeah. You know, I'm thinking, right now at the Home Depot, sandbags on sale,
Board your crap up. Get
shop
plywood.
vacs. Yeah. How about a new toilet?
Dude, Home Depot doesn't even need to advertise this week.
9:32 at the MJ Morning Show. So my phone blew up yesterday. The final segment here. I'd love to grab some calls as well. I got to do the rice cooker first, but I thought maybe we would grab some phone calls before the end of the show today and discuss the weather issues or elements, any areas of flooding yet, or anyone that has any concerns, and maybe grab a couple of phone calls toward the end. First, though, let me give away this rice cooker. It is another Zojirushi rice cooker. Love this thing, man. I'm telling you, I'm like Oprah and Oprah's favorite things. This is one of my favorite things on the planet, and I'm just passing on an appliance that I love to you. So thanks to Zojirushi, it's the best name in Japanese rice cookers, and they gave me 5 of them to give away because September's National Rice Month. We've given away 3 so far. This is number 4. Caller, look, every line is ringing. Caller number 35. Caller 35 right now, and you'll have your very own Zojirushi rice cooker. Caller 35, 800-990-1047, 800-990-1047. And yes, I pride myself as the only radio morning show in America giving away Zojirushi rice cookers. All right, 800-990-1047, caller 35. Wow. My phone blew up yesterday.
What happened?
The word came out about evacuation zone A. And, of course, my neighborhood in South Tampa is evacuation zone A. And there was a group text. There's a whole bunch of neighbors in my neighborhood on a group text. And then I started getting all like the individuals outside of the group text. Hey, it's almost like what are you going to do? Give us the insight here. And they were asking, hey, are you evacuating? Because I'm in an evacuation A zone. And the answer is, and folks, don't follow me, all right? Yeah. please make your own informed decision.
MJ doesn't know your family or your situation.
Yeah,
So don't listen to what he's doing.
The answer is I am not evacuating. We're staying in the house. We live in Beach Park. We live, near West Shore and Kennedy, down West Shore. You got Beach Park. We're, on the water side of Tampa Bay. And, I have waterfront property. And my seawall is very high. The water has never been over my seawall. In fact, the water has been even with my dock. Now, there are other storms where neighbors' docks are underwater, and mine are not even close to being, my dock's never even close to being underwater. One of the last storms we had, I've had water like even with my dock, but I've never had it even close to coming over my seawall. And then once you get to my back deck over the seawall, my house is still another 5.5 feet up. So I'm not concerned. I am not going to be evacuating. Please make your own informed decision, but we're not. We're built up. We're not expecting massive wind or rain. It's really a surge event that's going to be from about 9 p.m. to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I don't expect the water to be, hey, folks, I'll document this. I'll go outside at 9, 10, midnight tonight, and I'll shoot some video. Make sure you follow me on Instagram.
That's what we were hoping you would do. Thank you.
That's what I'm gonna do. Some Instagrams from my seawall.
Oh, thank you very much.
Right next to Tampa Bay.
I feel my storm coverage is now complete.
It is.
MJ's gonna be out there in flip flops.
Yes, I don't own flip flops. I hate flip flops.
Don't walk out there barefooted.
I think all flip flops ought to be destroyed. I hate flip flops. All right, so give me a follow on my Instagram, Certified MJ Radio. That's Certified MJ Radio on Instagram, and I'll keep you apprised of any water that's encroaching over my seawall. And should I've evacuated, I think we're going to be just fine. But if you're low-lying, if you're on grade, if you're prone to surge and flooding, then please make your own informed decision. But nobody in my neighborhood said that they were leaving because the houses, all the people I know, the houses are built up nicely. If you're at slab level, then listen, that could be a little bit of a concern.
All right, so hold on. We have like 8 to 12 foot potential surge in some of our northern counties, 10 to 15 as you start approaching the Big Bend.
Let's start south of us.
Okay.
So, and hold on. Let me give away the rice cooker here. Hi, good morning, MJ Morning Show. Who is this?
It's Rick.
Rick, where are you calling from?
Newport Richie.
Yeah, Rick, turn your radio all the way down, okay?
Okay, buddy.
Rick, congratulations. You're caller 35. You won the Zoji Rushi rice cooker.
Oh, thank you very, very much.
Yeah, you're going to love this thing. This is my favorite appliance on the planet. I love it. That's why I'm giving them away. And, Rick, you got it. You like rice?
Yes, I love it.
Just a little bit? Well, guess what? You're going to like it a whole lot more with this rice cooker. And don't put it on eBay and sell it because I'll track you down.
No, I don't do.
All right, buddy. All right, hang on a sec. Congratulations. You got the latest rice cooker, and you'll be, listen, you're going to plug this thing in, make some rice. You're going to be, oh, my God, I've never had rice this good. All right, Andrew's going to get all your information. Congratulations.
Thank you very, very much.
You bet. We will give away the final rice cooker tomorrow morning here on the MJ Morning Show. So Friday, final rice cooker for National Rice Month. The final, number 5, we'll give it away tomorrow morning here on 104.7 FM. Also, the Cash Kitty, $1,000 at 8 o'clock. Hey, the Cash Kitty makes another appearance at 10 a.m. So 21 minutes away, the Cash Kitty with another keyword. Roxanne will have that at 10. Then noon, 3, and 5 p.m. for the Cash Kitty. So heads up. Hey, we still have Rocky Horror Picture Show tickets to give away for the Mahaffey for the big 49th anniversary celebration. So we'll have those right before the end of the show coming up in just a bit. All right, where was I?
We're talking about storm surge starting below our area.
Gotcha. All right. So Sarasota and Manatee, the storm surge. And again, it is believed that the National Hurricane Center went on the higher side just really to cover their butts as far as the predictions. Will this verify? 4 to 7 foot storm surge for Sarasota, Manatee. You get up to the Tampa Bay area, Pinellas and Hillsborough, storm surge on the coastal areas and the water-affected areas, 5 to 8 feet of storm surge possible. You get right north of Pinellas County, Pasco, Hernando, Citrus, 8 to 12-foot storm surge. And then you get past Hernando, and you start getting into, past Citrus, rather. You start getting into Levy County and up in that vicinity, 10 to 15 feet of storm surge possible.
So my question is,
yes,
how far inland will we find manatees?
All right, Fester, come on.
I mean, will we see manatees in like the Dollar General parking lot of Cedar Key?
No. Oh, well, hold on. Dude.
I don't know.
Cedar Key's on the water.
Okay, so
you're saying inland. Hold on.
I can't name another town.
You're trying to make an inland joke, and you pick Cedar Key, which is right on the Gulf at sea level?
I don't know another town in any of those. In Perry. In downtown Perry, which is well off the shore.
No.
Perry is not a coastal town.
How about Mount Dora? How about Mount Dora? Dora the Explorer. How about that?
I think there's already manatees in Lake County.
Fester corrected me. During the commercial break, Fester says, hey, you know that the San Antone in China Grove's in Texas, right? You said San Antonio, Florida. Fester, it was a freaking joke.
It was a play on places.
Oh, my God. I mean, like, you don't know me?
Okay.
For how many? You've known me for 30 years.
There's two kinds of jokes. One of them are funny ones, and that one wasn't.
Yeah, I used China Grove as rejoiner music. And, you know, when the sun comes up in a sleepy little town down around San Antone, and then I said, oh, that's Florida, by the way. I'm joking. It's San Antonio, Texas.
Speaking of jokes, can we go back to Fester's comment about potentially seeing manatees, in places inland? And I want to say, if that happens, we have a very helpful how-to video on how to rescue a manatee and preserve that manatee.
Wait. Who has a very helpful video?
Oh, no.
That's
I was
right.
thinking about this the other day.
Oh, man. Where Fester played the part of the manatee.
Yes.
With the exquisite acting of Froggy and Roxanne.
Hold on a minute. We shot the spoof video, I think within the first year of our return, because it was a story that Giselle Bundchen helped rescue a manatee on the beach.
No. A sea turtle.
A sea turtle.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. All right.
We had a manatee. We cast Fester as a manatee.
Right. All right. So Giselle Bundchen, back when Tom Brady was quarterback for the Bucs, and Tom and Giselle had much happier times together. We reenacted the Giselle as the hero on the beach, and we had you play the part of Giselle, and you rescued a beached manatee played by Fester.
And Froggy helped as well. We both helped. And again, if you watch that video, I mean, it's basically like a YouTube how-to video. What to do when you find one.
Websites or something?
Yeah, that would be nice if we could put it up, feature it. But you have to make sure that the manatee has food and lettuce and water, and we administered all of those things.
Yes.
All right, you got your Zone A mandatory evacuations for a lot of the area. You've got some places in Hernando where Zone A, B, and C, west of 19, are mandatory evacs. Check your local county. Check your emergency operations websites. All the news websites will have all the evacuation areas. Again, the concern for us is surge. Weather is going to get rougher in the afternoon, 3, 4 o'clock. The worst of it for us is going to be probably 4 to 6 p.m. on rain and wind, maybe to 7 o'clock-ish. The surge event, the biggest concern is surge, and that is pretty much an after sunset event. Sunset right now is what? Go to Tampa Bay Sunset. What, about 7:50, 7:48, 7:45?
Okay.
As the days get shorter, we're 7:21. Oh, it's much earlier.
A little earlier, yeah.
All right. Because we get 8:35 sunsets in the dead of summer.
It doesn't get dark, but it starts to get a lot dimmer.
All right. So sunset. So after sunset, the bulk of the surge event, if it verifies, is 9 p.m.-ish into 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. That's where you want to be concerned. And again, the biggest concern is surge. What will happen? Hey, we have to wait and find out. Hopefully you are prepared. And of course, we will have a full recap of everything tomorrow morning here on the MJ Morning Show. Also, we'll return to normal. Today, what else? I had so much good material for today, but we probably have a fraction of the listenership. Probably listenership because so many places are closed and kids aren't in school. Right. So, and also, was I going to do the wacky content? With this thing churning out in the Gulf, probably not the best call. So, we kind of stuck with our weather coverage today.
Is what we had to do today.
Yes, I agree.
Tomorrow, different story.
Yeah, tomorrow, pretty much back to normal here on the MJ Morning Show. All right, let's do our final giveaway item. We've got Rocky Horror Picture Show tickets. Let's go out with a bang here. Caller number 30, 800-990-1047. You'll get a pair of tickets to go to the Mahaffey Theater on October 3rd at 8 p.m. for the 49th anniversary tour for the Rocky Horror Picture Show. You will see the movie. You'll also get a chance to meet Patricia Quinn, the original Magenta from the movie Cast, in that fabulous RKO feature presentation. All right, so caller 30 right now, 800-990-1047. Roxanne, you were kind of tentatively raising your hand for something?
Yeah, speaking of tomorrow, when do things get better tomorrow? So it's the overnight that's bad, like as far as driving conditions coming in and whatnot.
We'll be fine. Yeah.
You think?
When we come in the morning, this thing is this thing's already racing through Georgia.
But no surge issues tomorrow morning?
When the surge event should be, if it does surge,
right.
And however it does surge, we're looking at like 9 p.m. to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning on the surge. By the time you're driving in at 5:30, I think things are going to be absolutely fine.
Yeah, because I was trying to look for an excuse not to come in. So.
Be safe, folks.
Just kidding.
Make informed, intelligent decisions. And just be safe, and we'll check back with you. Follow my Instagram, and I'll keep track of Tampa Bay and the surge in South Tampa later tonight on my Instagram. Certified MJ Radio. Give me a follow. Certified MJ Radio. And we'll see you back here tomorrow on the MJ Morning Show on Q105. And let's be careful out there.
Hear the latest MJ Morning Show podcast on the Q105 app, powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE.